Welcome into this episode of the Devs Podcast. I'm your host, @Trementum_X, Riot Streamer, and LootTuber. This is episode 23, Bratting and Dominance in Online Spaces. I'm joined by my co-host, Lady Mystique. Say hi, Mystique.
Hi, everyone.
Today we've invited these esteemed gentlemen here to talk about being dominant online, what that means, what that entails, and what it means to brat and be bratted at, and how to sort of deal with that. We'll start with some introductions. We'll go left to right, starting with Gedden.
Oh boy, first. All right. Hey everyone, my name's Gedden. I'm your resident overlord, and if you behave, armor daddy. I'm in the variety stream, playing whatever tickles my fancy, and I do fansly on occasion, so it's mostly it.
Very cool. Welcome to the podcast, Gedden.
Thank you
Making
for,
a
beer.
emergency substitution for us because our friend Maito was sick with losing his voice and other things. Papa Welsh, aka Welsh.
Hello, Papa Welsh. I make the funny porn videos on Twitter and Pornhub, and I make some stuff on Fansly as well. Should be fun.
Wow, you're on all the platforms.
Except Twitch.
Yeah, except Twitch.
Wait, really? Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's ironic. Okay.
Yeah.
Welsh is
Yeah.
our first non-Twitch platform person on this podcast.
Oh yeah, no, I only just started doing the streaming side of things. I just made content originally, but hey, we good. We move. Yeah, that's
And our next guest, if you're a regular of this channel, he needs no introduction, but in case you do need introduction, Doncho Horang.
Hello, I am Dancho Horang, boss of the Golden Tiger Casino. Pleased to make all of your acquaintance.
Doncho is a Korean tiger VTuber. He streams here on Twitch. He's not a LootTuber, but he is Lootsome? Question mark.
The amount of times I've had Atrementum come to my stream and point fingers at me that I'm a YouTuber, I feel like I could buy an entire new casino with that amount of money if I had a quarter for each one.
Doncho's here as our resident bratting expert. We will be relying on him heavily because he is Mr. Brat Tamer.
You know what? In hindsight, I don't think I should take the lead for that. We have a man who has established himself in all platforms except Twitch. We have another demon lord who's in relationship with two beautiful gals. I don't believe I have that right criteria to obtain that title.
Very true. And last but not least, Lady Mystique.
I am Mr. Steek for this episode. Thank you very much.
My apologies.
It's a boys' night tonight. Hey everyone, I'm Lady Mystique. I am a dominant IRL. I also have a BDSM Discord. I'm an advocate for sex education and relationship education. I also have a background in sexology, which is why Atrementum puts up with me and has me on the show. It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Steek. So I thought we'd start with some definitions for those who might be listening and doesn't know what bratting is. So to you, in your opinion, guys, what does bratting mean to you? What is it? What does it mean to be bratted at?
Well, for me anyway, it'd be when you're trying to, obviously, you're with someone who's more subby on the subby side, but then they try and be almost like they don't want to be subby, and then they kind of go against it, but then at the same time want to be tamed. That's the way that I perceive it a lot of the time.
Yeah, I would say
Personally,
go ahead, Doncho.
Yeah. No, I was going to say personally, I think it's a very similar to what Papa Welsh here said. To me, it's more like a power dynamic, right? There is obviously the brat and then whoever they're trying to get a rise out of. It's, to me, a sort of deal of expectations. Because the only time they want a brat is when they actually expect, something to come out of it, right? So when there is that certain amount of expectation, that's when I feel like that's when the bratting starts. Because bratting and being a brat, in my opinion, are two separate things.
Absolutely. So it definitely sounds like it's like a power exchange. It's like sort of being resistant towards the natural state of submission, I guess.
Usually, in my experience, what bratting is a submissive or a person using unwanted behavior or unwanted behavior by the dominant in order to elicit a reaction, whether it's to get punishment, get attention, whatever it is. They are trying to annoy or elicit the reaction without having to ask for it, perhaps because they're not allowed to, or they don't want to, or they just think it's fun, whatever the case is.
That's a
I
great
feel
idea.
the same way as Doncho and Mystique here. It's very much just trying to get a reaction out of the Dom in question. So, feel for sure.
So Raina in chat asks, does being a tease count as a brat? I would say yes, with some exceptions.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of depends. Like just teasing, that's not. I wouldn't say that's not really bratting per se, because you could tease all your friends. You could tease each and every single one of us, and you're not expecting anything. It kind of goes back to my earlier point. It's like when you're being a brat, you want something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in some ways, like, and I've written scripts like this, basically, it's like what Mystique said about the unwanted behavior. Like if you're you're being a tease at like a time that's inconvenient for your like dominant, like he's at work or something, or she's like in the middle of something, and you're like being a tease, then you're definitely being a bit of a brat. Like you're pissing them off on purpose.
Yep.
Well, it's like when we were talking, and I was like, I want a smug face, and Natural was like, you have a smug face. That's teasing, and teasing kind of. I imagine it to stop, like after a remark or like a little bit of repartee. Whereas bratting goes beyond like the natural sort of stopping point on purpose.
Yeah, it's like the difference between an ooh woo and an oh whoa,
Is there a difference?
Yes, there is a difference.
Oh, I need you to educate me. Like, stop the podcast. Tell me what the difference is.
Well, you see, I asked a non-VTuber cultured friend what the difference is. He says, I want to shoot the one with the oh whoa, and I want to listen to the ooh woo. So, take that for what you will.
That's so apt. Oh, shit.
Wow.
And this is the depth.
I've never had it put so beautifully before in all 23 episodes, so we've had.
Well, you see, when you have to deal with it as much as I do, then, well, it comes naturally. Just grab your 12-gauge shotgun.
I feel like Shimi kind of nailed it in chat, though. Being a brat is acting up for attention a lot of the time. That's the oh whoa. Yeah. That's a furt of like, if I just do this, it's gonna annoy him. I'm gonna get attention, sort of way.
Keep in mind, you can tease for attention too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I feel like in a streamer atmosphere, it's kind of similar to the bully the streamer mentality.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like an offshoot of that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
This idea of getting a certain reaction or a rise out of the streamer, like because when you're bullying a streamer, it's an undesirable thing usually. Some streamers like it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a fun sort of like interchange with chat, and to some degree it can be. But like, yeah, actually, that's a great point. How do you deal so? 2 out of 3 of you are frequent streamers. Welshman mentioned earlier has just started streaming, but also for this hypothetical, how do you deal with the chat that's being a little too bratty and is acting up and sort of like messing with your flow?
You just don't give in to them.
No, you don't give in.
It's you gotta be, for me, it's like selective, right? Like if you're going to annoy the ever living shit out of me and I'm not there for it, if I'm not wanting to feed into that, like I just don't even acknowledge it. That's kind of
I think that's a good way to put it. Like, how do I say?
Reward. There's rewarding bad behavior, yes, but then there's, that's not the kind of behavior where anyone should be going for. So,
yeah. What I feel like there's a large intake of brats, right? I'm not sure if intake is the right word, but there's a large
Influx,
degree.
maybe?
Yes, influx, perfect. There's a large influx of brats online, especially what I've noticed towards smaller streamers, right? You don't have to be a YouTuber. I can promise you that on my end, right? That you don't have to deal with that type of content to receive this. And you see it all over Twitter, wherever people can talk about these sort of issues where they feel like bratting is coming up a little too much, whether it's because the streamer is being a brat or they just sort of attract that kind of attention. So how do you deal with this? Well, from my own experience, at the very least, there are 3 methods to go around it. 1, ignore them, Bratting said. 2, you sort of acknowledge it, laugh it off, but you want to kind of end it on a teasing note. Or 3, put your foot down and call out that specific person to knock it the hell off.
Mhm.
Usually the third one is the more
Confrontational.
confrontational, but it's the more resolute method, in my opinion. I've had more success with people actually stop bratting in my chat when I just firmly tell them to knock it off because, I'm not here for that time. I'm here for a good time, but not that time. This isn't chatterbait or wait, am I allowed to say that? This isn't CT or is not FS.
It's one thing to like address a crowd, but then it's like when you pick the one person and kind of like separate them from the rest. It's like, no, you in particular, you're being a little shit. Shut the hell up. Kind of.
Yeah, of course you don't want to.
You don't want to be.
Oh, sorry. You were saying Papa Welsh.
I was just saying, like, sometimes you do have to like proper assert authority and like put your foot down and just say, right, you need to knock it off now. Like, it's too much. It's too much.
Mhm.
Oh, you're very soft. I think we may need to bring you up a little bit.
Yeah, I just boosted him a bit.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I feel like there's 2 ways to go around that particular issue as well. One is, again, you call it that one specific individual, but if they are, actual fans of your stream, like they're actually there to enjoy a stream with you, they won't take it personally too much too hard unless you actually piss them off, and that's a whole separate issue you should talk with. But I feel like for the most part, at least in my experience, when you call out a specific person, that's because that one specific person is the one taking over your chat with that sort of attitude. And again, if they are fans, I feel like they shouldn't take it too much too hard. You just apologize, and then you apologize to either them or they apologize to you, and then you make your way through the entire stream just like it never happened, right? And then you could just address it to the general your entire chat. But the one issue I found with that is, well, that one particular brat thinks that they are safe from this for whatever reason. I don't know why, but yeah, usually I prefer to go the more confrontational route, but I can acknowledge that sometimes it does feel like you're calling out that specific individual, and you don't want anyone to feel like that, right?
That's true. I do notice
Lofi's taking notes like he's not one of the biggest brats.
I do notice there's a bit of a group dynamic when it comes to bratting on live streams and such. Like, I think it sort of engenders a community when people sort of band together to tease a streamer, or like, they form like a sub block basically, where it's like,
oh, the feedback loop is real.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I know early on in my streaming career, my chat branded themselves the Bratalion, and I immediately put an end to it. It's like, we're not doing that.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, personally, right? I feel like there's a difference between the bratting to a streamer, teasing a streamer, right? And those two to certain people are a very thin line. They don't know the difference between bratting or teasing. In my opinion, if you're at least on Twitch and they're not giving out that sort of vibe, then I don't think your first resort would be to go straight into bratting, right? Because sometimes, as a streamer, you get worked up with what you're doing, and you say things like, "Oh, I'm gonna crush your damn skull." Let me pick out one particular
Mods,
person.
do you?
Crush your skull.
Sometimes he does.
Yeah, sometimes
Wait. Do you say that to people in your chat, or do you say it to like the game?
both.
Oh, okay.
I respect that.
But, for the most part, whenever I do that, sometimes it does invite a few people to act like a brat to me rather than play along with it. And, sometimes it's okay if I'm in a particularly jolly mood, but other times, it can be a little frustrating that their first response is to brat to me rather than, laugh with me about it,
Mm.
Oh,
But
yeah, for sure.
yeah, but then it is also acknowledged on my end that I'm the one who quote unquote threatened them first with a good time. So, it's really a case to case scenario type of deal.
Mm.
I mean, you have a lot of people who just come in sometimes to your chat and like immediately just, if it's not bratting, it is like sort of like challenging you. So Doncha would be like, "Oh, hey, weird bald guy. Hey, guy from Persona 5. Hey, cue ball."
Hello, Heisenberg.
Right. Or in my case, it'd be like, "Hey, like you look like you should be working at Burger King or some shit like that." Like,
No way. Who?
it was the
I'm
last
sorry.
podcast actually.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what they
Oh,
meant by
yeah.
that.
Mordekaiser or Black Knight or something. So
Yeah.
I'm glad
Man,
we
even-
that way.
Yeah, even if he did work at Burger King's, I say my man Atramentum has done way more than a single individual having no other comment than to make fun of someone's appearance.
I mean, to
The
be
point
fair,
being-
that person did stick around and like talk. It was just
Yeah.
a one-liner because it was like
Oh, okay.
a succubus and Raina the mouse and Andy the bunny girl and Susie Q and like we were all like
A very
different
colorful
harem
cast.
members kind of thing, like a harem anime, and then there was like the protagonist who was just a dude like who worked at a burger joint or something.
The point of me bringing it up is that like a lot of people introduce themselves to streamers and like they come into chat for the first time with that kind of energy, like bully the streamer
Oh, yeah.
energy, you know?
Mm.
I had a guy roll up in my chat and the first thing he said to me was, "So what's your gimmick?"
Oh,
I
I
was
don't like
like,
those vibes. All right.
Oh.
That's
I was like,
Oh.
"Titties, what's yours?" And he was like, "No, but like what's your thing?" And I was like, "Titties, for real."
For real.
So here's a question from Reina Mako. Do you guys, like each of you, have that one brat in your community when you see that person,
No.
you're like, "Oh, that's my brat"?
No.
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 There are multiple
It's the
brats.
collective
There's a
brat.
lot, yeah.
I'll take
Yes.
little profiles of like, oh, this person has been bratty in the past and has not been a pain in my butt. So it's like, just you keep tabs, but you don't.
Yeah.
Like favorites, that give them a big head. You can't do that.
Yeah, personally, when it comes to like that kind of territory, like the personal favorites, just like how I prefer my NSFW conversations, I prefer to be one-on-one and private in like DMs or otherwise, not in a public space like Twitch. Who the fuck left? I feel like you have a personal history of that. But yes, that's personally what I feel about like that whole one brat thing. It's like if let's say on the off chance I did have that personal brat from my private life, right, coming into my stream, it's just something I'm gonna have in my head, maybe do a little smug smile, but it's not like I'm going to acknowledge that in front of the stream.
You give them power that
I
way.
don't roll with that.
Yeah.
That too.
I have like obviously with me it's a bit different because I have to I do production shoots and all that. So for me it's a little bit different. But then there's like the odd people I'll do shoots with who I know who going into it will be bratty, and I have to like prepare for that because I know for a fact that they're going to be a little bit more
Energy intensive.
yeah, exactly. I have to put a bit more energy into actually being able to do shit and get stuff done.
It's probably harder for you too because you have to tell them what to do, like literally.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
because sometimes it is like I'm just like, right, cool, this is all good and all, but can we just get the shot, please? Like, I just want to get this done. Like, please. And they're like, no, make me, and I'm like, oh, just okay.
Oh
Especially with the art as well. I can be a little bit more like assertive with my body, but like it's still pixels.
You're
Can't
still
do
in
much.
VR. You can't punch people You can't punch people through the
Yeah,
internet.
exactly. Yeah,
Right,
can't just go right. Get in line. No, don't.
Yo.
But hey, still fun though.
Oh wait, are we allowed to ask each other questions, Atra?
Absolutely.
Of course.
Then I do have a question. Since out of everyone here, I'm the only one who, I'm not saying this as a bragging point or anything, but I'm the only one who doesn't, do any like CT or FS or PH.
You can just say the words. It's fine.
Yeah,
All right, okay. I'm not sure what Twitch allows anymore, to be honest, but
that's true.
the thing is, it's like, how different are the I imagine they're more sexy, of course, but like, how different are like the community there, like compared to say Le Twitch, right? That's something I've been curious because I don't personally browse those sites myself.
Right. That is a good question, actually.
Do you want to go first?
I think I might be the bratty one on Fansly.
I feel like on adult sites, like from the chats that I've seen and stuff, consent is so much more important.
Yeah.
So if bratting gets too far out of line, people are much quicker to shut that down, or like if it gets too bad, just end the stream. Like if people are bratting too hard and they won't stop, end the stream, and I guarantee you will only have to do that once because they won't get their payoff that they're looking for.
True. I will say the power dynamic shifts dramatically when you have toys attached to you, and they have the ability to make those toys work.
Yeah.
Then suddenly you're the brat because you're like, oh yeah, no, that's nothing. That's fine or whatever.
Well,
So it depends on your approach sometimes. It depends on your approach.
Yeah, I guess. Can you be a bratty dom? Is that a thing you can do?
Yeah, I think I will. Maybe. Chad, am I a
I mean,
bratty
I
dom?
was going to ask that question as well. That I'm not sure, like personally on my end, due to my lack of out of
Oh, you want Spanx? Make me want to. Ooh.
Oh my god!
Oh, you want to hear about
You want a
bratty
necklace?
doms,
That made me shiver. No.
Yeah, I got plenty of chest right here. Look.
Like personally, I'm not too sure if a bratty dom works per se. Right? I know they're two separate ones. They could be a brat or a dom at whatever their mood feels like.
Yeah, switch it
but
up,
in
yeah.
terms of like the Power King dynamic, I can't really imagine how a bratty dom would do things. Like Papa Welsh, you must have a plethora of experience in these kind of fields. Have you ever had to be like a bratty dom before?
Well, I don't know how you'd say it though, because it's like, say you've got a load of people. Say if it is like you're streaming and you've got people like tipping you to control your toy and stuff, and they're doing it a lot, and they're like, and basically you want to keep going and you don't want to come yet, and then they make you like continue, and then like keep doing it, and then you go, no, you have to do better than that and stuff like that. I don't know if that counts as being bratty, if you're like telling them like you have to do better than that and stuff like that, or is that, I think that's more just being an aggressive dom more than anything.
You are kind of edging them.
Yeah. So,
Like, oh, you want me to come? You want me to come? No.
exactly. Yeah. So I don't know if that's classed as bratting, but I don't think it is, because it's more of just being an aggressive dom. Bratting in my case is always sub.
I definitely have a reaction to being like put in a subby place because I'm not subby like on fans or anything like that, but I think people want me to be, and that's where I do the pushback, and I think that's where like the bratty sort of thing comes from, for me at least.
Okay.
Where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm not your good boy, don't head pat me, whatever it is, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I hate it when people head pat me. I'm interested to hear what Geddon thinks about this.
Yeah.
Because you're very polite. You don't scream at other people like I do. So
I take it pretty one-on-one. Like I don't overgeneralize too much. I take the approach slow and just kind of figure out the other person before I determine how to react. But bratty dom, I don't know. That's a tough one. Like I was kind of leaning towards the whole you're gonna have to try better than that. I do think that's a really good There's something there, like it feels like it could be, but I'm not sure what the exact term is.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean too. Yeah.
Can't quite find that term analogy we're looking for, but I think we get the gist.
Yeah.
Because it's a power struggle, no matter what it is. Like, if there's no word for it, like it's still a power struggle, and it can change for the site you're on, the interaction you're having with people. If you're in VR, if you're like on the end of a toy stream, or if you're doing just a stream on Twitch, you know.
Yeah.
Constantly shifting
Absolutely.
power dynamic. Which leads me to my next question, which is why do people brat online, specifically online? Why are they seeking you out to brat at you? What do you think?
Who wants to go first? Because
Asking
I think
the
it's
voiced man to my
I
right.
want to hear from Brad again
I
first.
think
That's
it's
my
a control thing.
I need to read the question again, so I might need a second.
Sure. So, the question is, why do people seek out VTubers such as yourself online to brat at? Like, why are they looking for you? Why is that the interaction they want to have with you? What do they want from you? What are they looking for in that interaction?
You know, with anything else, with online, there's safety there, because like you can kind of brat at somebody over text, and you know nothing's gonna happen. But you know, also, what's the reaction? So it's just another form of them trying to get a reaction out of you. It's coming from a safe place. They're in the safety of their own home or whatever. And if you feed into them, they get that loop, and that's kind of where I lean it off to. I'm not. There could be more to that, but they expect a reaction. They're going to the streamer with the deep daddy voice, and then proceeds to hopefully try and get daddy's attention. And if you give it to them, well, they might show back up. Who knows? They'll come for their dopamine.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an offshoot of trolling, isn't it?
Oh,
Giggle goofily in my room, with leg kickies.
That is just such a good way to say it, though. Because it is.
Really is.
There's zero consequences for it. That's the reason I think they do it. Is because you can't. At the end of the day, you can't do anything about it. You can just say
into the wall or anything. Yeah.
But in real life, obviously, there's a lot more consequences to bratting.
No hands on the throat or anything. None of the fun stuff.
Exactly.
None of the fun stuff, yeah.
You can't do the real stuff.
No dressage whip. I mean, what?
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's
pinning down.
to me, it's more of like a combination of these two answers, right? It's because the simple answer to me is just because it's easier, right? It's the same reason people can talk shit on the internet, because it's easier. Just type it and you could forget about you even typed it for 5 minutes. But if you do it in real life, you have to actually physically face someone. You talk shit to someone, you might get a punch to the face. That's why people don't talk shit as much. You brat to someone in real life, we're gonna do that meme where you lock your hands together and I grab what's extended fingers, push you back, I love that TikTok, but yeah, I think it's just because it's just easier.
Yeah, like it's an offshoot of trolling. Like it's generally a less destructive offshoot, I think.
They might not even know they're. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, you go. Please talk over me.
They like you said, I'm polite. I don't like to do that.
Talk over me, Daddy. Ooh woo.
Well, if you insist.
Okay.
You threw me off with that. Actually.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's me.
I'm messing.
He's too powerful for this.
Oh shit, that was something. It is because they might not even know if they're a brat. It's they can also test the waters, see what they say, what that gets the reaction or whatever. But they might have never had a bratty experience IRL, but like they've heard stories about what it's like. So then they might come online and try it that way, which has its ups and downs. But that's the trolling thing does click some boxes.
Yeah, it's actually a great point. Like for a lot of kink things, like any kink thing, honestly, like for the most part, starting off online before you go into a real space, like a club or like beating somebody up, like IRL, this is kind of the place to do something like that, to see how you like being submissive or how you like, bratting at some like 6 foot tall armor daddy like over the internet, like what happens.
Yes, I do feel like I should make the point that it happens a lot more towards specifically VTubers rather than say a faceless streamer, for example. Because the thing about VTubing is that we are expressive. They can see our reactions compared to say a faceless streamer who just has their voice and be like, ah, haha, damn, man.
Oh, that's a cool toggle.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was not intimidating.
I was wondering what you were going for. What were you grabbing?
It's on the Andrew's ass over there.
But don't do that now. Come on now.
You might excite our chat a little too much.
Why am I
They're trying to be on their best behavior tonight, Brad.
Right.
I think, yeah, you're right though, in that it's like a bit of a thrill for them, a safe way for them to experience a thrill, and they also might just not know another way to get attention. I think that plays into it as well.
Looking
it's
at
like all the benefits,
community.
but none the consequences.
Our audiences, like, well, not my audience, but like many audiences, like trend younger in like VTubing. We're talking like 19, 20, 21 through 24, maybe 25, as being like the core audience of VTubers. Like, maybe don't have relationship experience, maybe like kind of just watch like BL or like not hentai, but what do ladies watch? the point.
We watch hentai.
I feel like the correct term would be like their fantasy versus like IRL kind of expectations.
Yeah, it's kind of like having like because if you haven't had a relationship experience, and if you haven't been able to experience what it is to like be in a dominant sub relationship, then this is like one of the best surrogates you can have, for better or worse. It just so happens that there's another side of that equation, which is the streamer, who is like just here to play League, not like have you brat at them.
Yeah,
and they might not know any better because they think they can just do it to anyone, right? Because they don't, literally know.
Exactly.
Spirit.
Like I behave like this to my friends, therefore it's fine with anybody.
Right. It's like, oh, this is funny with my friends group, and why am I banned? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Oh no, I've been banned.
Oh man, I actually, that reminds me. I saw like I was on like a bigger streamer, his stream, right, and then somebody donated him like $5 just to say like, "Ooh, Daddy, you make me feel so good inside." And he said, "All right, yeah, thank you for the $5, but you're banned." I'm like, damn.
Ruthless.
Like he specifically caught that one message, or it was a donation, but he caught that one person in particular, just like. No nonsense. I respected that, actually. That's the kind of energy that I wish I could just put forth one day. Just not give a shit absolutely at all. Well, I don't, but just more.
If people come in to my chat and they're really rude, I'm just like, hey, how about go fuck yourself? And
yeah, there needs to be consequences. Like I think an issue with the space is like too many people are afraid of upsetting chat, and then oh no, I have one less viewer next time. But like, if you're too much of a pushover, then it's just not good long term either. So it's good to actually be able to put your foot down, make an example of people.
Yeah, and I've had many. Unfortunately, I've had many people come to me for advice for like, I know this isn't really the subject, but it's like on the reverse end of things as well. It's like, let's say they're a brat on stream, that's their persona, or they're just like a bit more, outgoing or shy. They have this one big paying quote unquote customer, but he's getting a little too
handsy,
personal. Yeah, with that, handsy is a good way to say it, right?
Yep.
And then they said, I don't want to lose his support or their support. You never know. Their support, but I'm getting so much mental stress, and I keep telling them, it's like, trust me, it ain't worth. Just, it's like, why keep yourself with a toxic boyfriend? It's like, you have that comfort of being in a relationship, but I can promise you down the road, that's like so much hardship. It's short term versus long term. That is the benefits to weigh out, right? In my opinion, it's no contest, but to others, it's not so obvious.
You were responsible.
You gotta have the self-respect. So,
exactly.
sorry,
No, absolutely. Like Loki
Go
says,
on.
one less viewer is better than sacrificing your sanity. Absolutely, because like
Yeah.
you're ultimately responsible for your own space. Like you have to be comfortable in your own space, and vibe check sort of thing. Like if someone is failing your vibe, someone is not listening to you because they want to do their own thing with the bratting thing, then you're well within your right to show them the door.
Yeah, it's like you can bring that behavior to fans. Like, I kind of want you to do that sort of thing. For example, not me specifically, but just in general. But like on a stream, it's like you have to also realize there are also other viewers.
Right. Yes.
When you're uncomfortable, your other chats might be uncomfortable. It's
Exactly.
like, they often say things like, your dog is based off the personality of the owner. Your chat is I'm not comparing you guys to dogs, but your chat is like, the energy that's
Chat reflects the streamer.
energy. Yes, chat reflects the streamer.
Am I actually am I actually a 30-year-old woman?
I was looking at my.
I resemble that
Toby.
remark.
I was looking at my Toby, and then I just had the thought of like dogs in mind.
Well, you judge a man by the company he keeps,
There
right?
we go.
Yes.
Yo.
There we
That's
go.
Yo.
So you gotta also realize, like, I think we can trace this back to like the whole bratting conversation. It's like, you gotta realize, like, if one person brats to you, other people might not be uncomfortable with it, especially if you clearly do not enjoy having that sort of like treat at the time.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's basically the point I was trying to make.
Well, people pick up on that, and like this is a time before I was even a YouTuber. Like, I was in your server actually, Doncho, and like everyone was being super bratty in VC, and then like a 16-year-old kid came in and like started bratting at me. I'm like, whoa, okay, chill out. Like, I don't know you like that. Yeah.
And I'm not going to know you like that for several years.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
I didn't even know we had someone that young to serve. What the fuck?
It was before. It was 2 years ago, I think, almost.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. We've
Back
long since changed things.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Daddy
I've
Twitch,
changed
I promise. I didn't know.
No,
no.
it wasn't like an inappropriate thing. It was a general VC, just whatever, chatting. But like people were being bratty at me, and then like this person comes in, like it just presumes like they can just have the same interaction with you. And I'm like, no, there's many ways in which I'm not comfortable with this interaction. One, I don't fucking know you. Two, you're not even 18. Three, like I am twice your age. Get it the fuck out of my face, basically.
Yeah, no, I think that's also a good point to bring up is like why people brat. I think it's because it kind of stems from their like childhood or like their younger years where it was almost like encouraged in certain scenarios, right? Between friends, between their like young relationships, it sometimes carries over to like your adulthood. So I feel like that's why some people develop like a certain taste for it and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Hear that, chat? Doncho says you need to go to therapy.
Well, it's even just physiologically,
Get some
your
help.
brain doesn't actually fully develop until we're 25. So
yeah.
people who are younger than that, particularly people who are quite a bit younger than that, are they have not had the experience and don't necessarily, like, especially if we're talking about minors, have the capacity to read the room that way and
Yes.
judge what is and isn't appropriate.
Yep.
This actually relates to a question we had earlier from Shimi. She says, for everyone, do you think the VTubing community tends to promote bratting in general, and that's why there's so many brats in general? Yes and no. Yes and no.
Yes and
I
yeah.
agree.
Yes and no.
Yeah. I
Who
would
said
say
yes and yeah?
Brand said yes and yeah.
Oh, I want to hear what you have to say about
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Actually.
I said yes and no. That's
Oh.
it.
Oh, okay, my bad.
No, I said yes and no.
Yeah,
I was like,
you were
oh,
going
that's
to talk. We
interesting
were all like,
perspective.
holy shit.
No.
No, I think so there's the layer of the chat and like streamer interaction that's like, not a VTuber specific thing. Like that already, like bullying streamer is like a thing that is everywhere. Like you watch like C-Dog VA, his chat just bullying him all the fucking time, like yeah, and it's not even like in a dom sub sexual way in the slightest. But you have that, and then there's the fact that we're all like, we're all like handsome dudes. We have handsome avatars, or we like project herself a certain way to appeal to a certain audience, whether intentionally or not. Like, not everyone is looking to like have that sort of experience VTubing. But when you have that plus the streamer dynamic, I think yes, you're definitely gonna get a lot of people coming in and wanting to brat at like the handsome guy with the deep voice, because that's fun. I can see how that's fun. Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Or
Real
is
big problem.
or the same way around. You want to brat at the dommy mommy with the big boobies and like have her scold you.
Mhm.
Isn't that right, Mystique?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Steak.
I legit had someone come in and like suggest that I do a stream where I teach people etiquette as an ASMR. So I do get what you mean.
Mm.
Oh, like the
Yeah.
like an instructional thing, but like in a
Yes.
dominant teacher kind of way. Gotcha.
Yeah, like a governess teaching etiquette to, their unruly students.
Governors, and
I
there's a
think the
word.
accent helps with that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like there are like two types of people who go around like looking to be a brat online, right? Or the other way around. It's like there's two types of people. There's the people who are just generally creeps also in real life, right? They're the type of people that would like touch your hair or your clothes with like rub it like without question and be like, "Hey, how you doing?" Right? And shit like
Oh
that.
my
Oh
god.
Right, and then there's the other side who generally don't know that that's a bad thing due to upbringing or just general cluelessness, right?
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
yeah, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. But
yeah.
then it's like I give second chances too, a third chance if I actually like them, but it really depends on how far they push it at times, right? Like if they just go to my chat and just call me like out of nowhere, their first time chatting, just like do this to me, daddy, then it's like, yeah, nah, bye. Bye, Felicia.
I need you to sit down and watch for a little bit before you
Mhm.
get a little courageous.
Yeah. Like if that was maybe like their fourth or fifth message, I'd be more open to the idea of like playing around. But if it's your first message, we clearly know what you want, and I'm not dealing with that.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know?
I can
It's
kind of
like
relate to
that.
that in a way because, like,
Really?
Yeah.
obviously with once again being from the I've only really not really doing the VTuber side things that much, but coming from like doing shoots and all that with like someone who's brand new into the shoot and I've only met them once, like this is the first time meeting them and they're instantly like bratty or instantly like sexual, and it's like, I don't know you, like could at least like talk first and get to know each other before you start doing all of that. Like there's an area of respect to it as well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think
Like,
that's
is
the big
that how
thing.
you behave?
I don't know you.
Is that how you behave in public? You go up to people in a cafe and be like, "Hey, can I lick your nipple?" Like, no.
You don't?
Like, I don't know
I'll
what
spit on
you've been
my
watching,
console.
but that's not real.
Mhm.
That's not how we act here.
Yeah, I mean, like,
there is this sort of thing where people think your content is consent sometimes.
Oh god.
Like,
Yeah.
like I've seen you do this with this one, or I've seen Welsh like do this to that that person in VR. Like that must mean you want to do it with me, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
the line is very thin, right? It's like inherent sexism on both genders, where it's like they just think because you do this and that actions or just appearance, it's like an easy picking. But
Yeah.
sometimes
Or you're a guy, you must like this.
Yeah.
Too many
yeah.
generalizations, not enough like one-on-one like connections. It's just
absolutely.
assuming that you can just apply the behavior to swaths of people rather than touching bases and on an individual level.
Oh yeah, it's like how many of us have heard, "Hey, get on, can I pull your horns?" Or "Hey, Papa Welsh, can I like pull your ears?" Things of that nature,
Or you like, can I shine your head?
I've
Or
heard
rub your head?
I've heard so.
Oh well, I've heard people say they want to lick it, so in that context,
no.
Oh, I have a meme for that.
What, for my head?
Yeah, specifically.
Oh
Hang
no.
on. I have some scrolling to do.
I promise you, I've seen all of them. I've seen the Squidward one. I've seen the Ikoho, or not Ikoho, the flashing technique.
Oh, no. You may not have seen this one. I don't think. Here you go.
That'll be new then.
All I
So-
can think of is SpongeBob meme where he points up and just shouts.
Nope,
balls.
I've seen that one.
When they invite you to a threesome and you don't know what to do, and it's a bald guy fucking a woman, and then there's another girl in a t-shirt who is obviously the third wheel, just licking his head, while this guy is bending this other woman in half, and her feet are like up near this t-shirt girl's head. She's
Is that
just
Sins too?
Yeah, Johnny
Sins
Sins.
like I'm trying. Sins like I'm trying to get to work here, and someone just.
And guess how many times
that's
I've been
Johnny Sins?
liking. Yep. Guess how many times I've been liking to Johnny Sins.
Oh my god!
I didn't know people did that too.
Amazing.
That's hilarious. That's not hilarious. I'm sorry.
I mean, sometimes it's good because, like, it all depends on how they say it. Like, if they just come to my chat and then call me like fucking Andrew Tate or Heisenberg, then it's like, all right, bye, Felicia, right? But if they
I would
like
be
spin
insulted
it,
being called Andrew Tate by anybody at any time ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
you know,
I think we have a banned
it's-
word in your chat now. Actually, you're not allowed to say
it is bad just because I
Yeah.
don't appreciate
Good.
that individual at all. But yeah, it's just like I've been likened to Johnny Sins a couple of times, and most of the time it's actually been for a funny reason or like for a meme. And you know, I personally have had a positive experience with the comparison. But the licking head part is licking my literal like bald head, right? It's something I've had the
Ooh, shiny.
course of experience. I wanted to say pleasure, but it's not pleasure, but it's not displeasure either. It's just an experience that I've had to go through. The first time I've heard it, I honestly
No one's
didn't
ever
know how to
offered to lick
react.
my head.
Well, you got some shaving to do.
Yeah, I think that might be the problem. Licking like a head full of hair is kind of unpleasant.
Fresh.
I mean, it
Like,
got
if
me
you
off the
get
first
one
time.
hair on your tongue, like it's the worst thing ever. Like, I can't
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
No, yes. Because honestly, I don't know. Sometimes it depends, right? Like, I've now likened it to, depending on specific individuals, right? Like, it's, for example, Atramentum said that to me, you know, I'd ask him which head, and, you know, then the story just goes on from there.
You gotta lick your homies' heads. That's the
I've
That's the moral
had
of
a
the
few
story.
people say, you know, both, and I'm thinking, there's this meme.
Catching up with chat. Sorry, chat. I've been reading chat, but I haven't been calling out some of the things you've been saying. By the way, chat, if you have any questions for us, feel free to drop them in any time. I'll work them into the conversation as we go, because this is an interactive experience. But earlier on, Paduk said, I don't feel like I'm demanding enough to qualify as a brat, but I can understand the seeking attention and eliciting a response. Getting responses out of YouTubers is satisfying to have their attention, but bratting sounds like can be getting them to react more strongly. I would agree with that, yes. Like, it's like finding ways to get their attention, but you're not interested. Well, I don't want to call anyone out, but like, I feel like people who do this, like, in a way that pushes the line, want to interact with the person badly, but don't have anything interesting to say. And I think that's kind of where they go to.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
think
rage
also-
baiting.
Yeah, I think also people kind of power is an aphrodisiac, right?
Mhm.
And I think people kind of get a thrill from making you cross or annoyed, not necessarily wanting you to be angry or upset, but
right.
like by making you stop what you're doing or eliciting a reaction out of you that is not necessarily pleasurable. It's something I call digital sadism.
Ooh.
And I think that it's very, very strong. I mean, it's why people like, pile in for like sub goal rewards with Bean Boozled challenges or whatever, because they want to see someone suffer. It's a very human thing. We're very dark-sided in that way, as like apes and simians that we are. And I think that there's very much a side of that for some people.
Yeah, I agree. Actually.
Getting has-been hotel flashbacks.
Yeah, What do you guys think? Welsh and Gedden particularly. As the being on the Luda side of things, I'm very interested to know what your experiences are.
In regards to digital sadism kind of stuff, or
yeah, do you think it's accurate that there's an element of sadism in people bratting at you sometimes?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say so, because sometimes they get off to you telling them what to do, and then also getting off to you then punishing them for it, which it goes hand in hand, in my opinion. Because a lot of the people that I interact with seem to be into that in the nicest way possible. Obviously, they're not always into it. But
oh goodness!
Goddamn. Anyway, but yeah. So I just sometimes that you can go a little bit overboard. You can get people that tell you to do some mad things, tell you to say some incredibly hurtful
out of
slurs
pocket
to them.
stuff.
It's horrible sometimes what some of the people tell you to they tell you to do, and then they're being bratty about it, and you feel bad, but at the same time you want to help. If you like the person anyway, you want to do it, you want to get them off, you then feed into it. After you're right, okay, just so we clarify, I did not mean any of that. just so that we can clarify this. But yeah, that seems to be my experience with it anyway.
Something actually that I learned about through having a BDSM Discord is the concept of digital self-harm, and how some people will troll in order to be to receive the backlash and the abuse. Now, I know that this isn't specifically bratting. There is absolutely a line between self-harm and bratting. But have you guys ever come across that phenomenon in your chats, where people are trying to get you to really kind of be hurtful?
I have never personally experienced that, so that's definitely new to me.
Thankfully, I've not seen that.
Yeah,
I can definitely see how that might be a problem.
Yeah, it's basically what incels are doing to radicalize themselves. They visit places where they will be told that they are worthless and ugly and betas or whatever.
Oh, so just straight up degrading.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not for some kind of sexual satisfaction in a consenting way. It's it is a form of self-harm and release for some kind of negative feelings.
I think if I ever did clock that, I would probably ban that immediately. Because my reason for interfacing with content is to make people feel safe and to explore things that they like and potentially would enjoy. And that would just immediately ruin the vibes, straight up. I'm not dealing with that. I suspect the same for these gentlemen here too.
100%.
Yeah.
It's not something I want to deal with at all. So
no, I feel like that would mentally harm not just myself and my chat. So I'm out there to protect my chat as well. So that's not a business I want either in the Twitch chat or the Discord. The closest I've had to that experience would be just I've had someone just constantly talk down to themselves and basically praise me instead. And I'm just bro.
I had this.
I don't know if that counts
in a gaming sense. I had this happen. Brand new player, and they're just so upset that they're so bad, apologizing every time. But it's just stop. How many hours do you had in this game? 6. I have 300. And I'm still bad. Just play the game. You're fine. This.
Yeah, apologizing and talking. Apologizing and talking bad about yourself.
Are you talking about League of Legends?
I'm sorry, I'm so bad. I'm sorry, so bad.
I'm so sorry. I keep missing my shot. I'm so bad. It's
I played that game since fucking high school, and I'm still terrible.
Apologizing and talking yourself down. I have no idea. Couldn't be me.
Yeah, I've heard of stories like that though, Mystique, but I've never personally experienced one quite so exact like that. That's the closest I've had.
If we were talking about that phenomenon, I don't think we see it so much in chat. I think we might see it among other creators, in their interactions with each other.
Yeah.
Mm.
I was gonna say, I see it a lot with
those.
with
Yeah,
some
those
players
Twilongers
just
are
constantly,
wild.
like
Oh no.
bringing themselves down when they're
Yes.
doing just fine. But do you know what I mean? But they seem to do one post that doesn't do as well, and then all of a sudden it's just like you're straight down. Like there's no. It's the end, and it's like no, it's just how things are. Just chill.
Mm.
It's all good.
Yeah, there's
Don't worry.
highs and lows.
Yep.
You know,
And
if you're
it's-
experiencing,
No,
Yeah, I
it's
was
tough
gonna
because this is
say.
the entertainment industry. Like, it is an industry. People don't seem to realize that. And, like,
Mm.
your mood can depend on your success, your mood can depend on your attitude, and your mood can depend on your mental health. And if you have unhealthy ways of dealing with yourself and your interactions with other people, then potentially that can manifest in some pretty bad ways.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because self-harm is all about catharsis, right? It's about catharting some kind of negative feeling or sensation. And there are some people who seem to very much enjoy, like, becoming hated or becoming a martyr because it's how they see themselves. And
Engaging in
it's a
drama.
very... It's a psychological relief, even though they're hurting themselves. But it's very interesting, your guys' perspective on that.
oh, when you put it that way, yeah, I've dealt with one individual in like private DMs, not in public, and I prefer not to say their names, but
Right.
Of course not, yeah.
yeah, hopefully they're doing better. I just had to remove myself from those situations. But yeah, I see what you mean now.
Yeah, taking it
It's-
beyond like chat and streamer, like this can manifest in many of our lives. This like communities, like your Discord, like it could be other creators, like not just on stream.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's a bit unfortunate if anyone has to deal with it, but you know, it's you take it how you can. You're not going to be judged for doing it bad or worse. Just do whatever you can, protect yourself. Don't be a dick about it, but you know, just do what you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Apologies for derailing the discussion slightly.
No, you're fine. That you're here to derail. So here's a fun question. Let's move it to something a little more fun for our dominance here, and that includes you, Mystique. With the absence of physical touch, how do you convey dominance with someone during brat play? So this is consensual brat play now. You can't touch them. How are you dominating?
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, voice. Okay.
So you can convey proximity like this. If you get up close to the microphone, it can feel close or claustrophobic. There are ways to simulate the lack of distance without necessarily physically encroaching on their space. That's my view.
Oh, you know, I never thought of it that way. Actually,
Yep.
No.
Yep.
That's
If you don't believe her, look at chat right now.
Badunk.
Just see a hair from underneath. That's just it.
no. Biggest reactions out of chat I get is usually when you get real deep and close. So it's that's definitely a good party trick.
I'll have to keep that in mind.
Obviously, once again, different perspective, but with obviously being on the furry side of things as well, for me, a good way to do it and to make someone pretty much crumble a lot is to almost like go more feral in it and like go quite and growl, like and proper go deep and brutally with it. Like if you just like go up to someone's ear, just proper. Just make sure they know exactly what you want. And growl it. Yeah, that's a good one. I like it a lot. I like doing it as well. It's fun. But hey, it's really the feeling of having someone literally just like shrink and crumble because you've just done one thing. It's just it's a good feeling. That's IRL as well. That's
I can
not
hear
just
chat like twirling their hair right now.
Yeah, do it. You've got to do it now.
oh fuck.
If you don't mind, please.
Well, look, if it's like a situation of where like someone's been a
If you'd
little
rather
bit- a
not,
little
that's
bit-
totally fine.
No, of course. But like, obviously, if someone's been a little bit of a brat and they're like, "Well, I don't know what I want to do," and you just go, "You know exactly what you want to do," and just do that, and then they like kind of like it kind of like just makes them shrink and just crumble in your hands like putty, and it's great. It's a good feeling.
God damn, dude.
Yep, growls are definitely effective. Yes. Yep.
Diction is also another one
Yes.
that you can play with. Like, if someone is like being bratty and you become very deliberate in how you speak. You don't need to raise your voice necessarily, but you will sit down and you will do what I say. Like that can
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
helps to have a silver tongue in these sort of scenarios, especially since, physicality is not doable. Having a silver tongue plus that diction and the, getting closer to Mike, I think that's actually a good, a good tactic.
I think all the chefs in this kitchen right now, we are cooking it all.
A chef is we're cooking. But sometimes personally on my end, having a silver tongue helps, but it's kind of like a trust dynamic, right? Like obviously there's a lot of trust that goes into certain like play and whatnot, but in this in particular, when it comes to like taming a brat, I feel like trust is needed, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you to do a certain amount of actions for me, and I expect you to deliver on what I asked for or demanded. But if you're not going to do any of them for the sake of being a brat, then that dynamic is kind of lost,
Yeah, there's a lot of give and take, isn't there?
So it's a lot of like give and take. Like there's only so much you can do online. Not that it stops many people, but there's only so much you can do online. Of course, there's a lot of things that can help you out nowadays. More and more things are being creatively inventive with how they deal with sexual dynamics. But
Oh, did you guys see that Live 2D with the cupboard on emote? A cupboard on toggle?
Oh.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Oh.
It's got like a wall slam thing where he puts his arm like up to the top of the screen and like leans in real close.
Oh, that's so cool.
The VTuber lean. It's happening.
That's awesome.
VTuber lean. Yes. Yeah, I feel like it all kind of depends on a certain technique, right?
I mean, you kind of just did it just now, Doncho. You slowed up your pace and sort of did the diction thing.
Did I?
Yeah, you don't even know you're doing it.
You're so natural at it, you didn't even recognize the aura, the power.
No, it's just I'm just thinking about my last sessions. So
He's reminiscing. He's reminiscing.
He's going to the DOM files in his head.
I tell you what, it's another good thing about it. Another good way to portray it is if you're like obviously playing along with it, and you're clearly like having a good time and you're talking and you're smiling, and then you go into where they're going a bit too much bratty. Then you go into you go from a yeah, oh come on, you want to all that, and then you just go, I want you to do this now, and just so they can hear you no longer smiling. If they can feel you no longer smiling and feel that you're stone faced, is a really good thing. I think they can tell your mood has changed, not in just your voice, but they can feel you like how you've even lost your smile.
I saw it on your model just now. That was wild, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super expressive. It's really cool.
It's a bit too expressive, because if I like just slightly open my mouth, it looks like I'm doing a certain action, which I'm not too happy about. But hey, so
What, you mean
we
like
have to go
this?
stone faced just to keep it normal, but it's fine.
I kind of want to know how a man in a relationship like Brendan kind of like does his sort of like deals. Because I imagine it's long distance. You can't always meet up, right? So I'm a little curious for my own reference.
No, it's definitely like when we were talking, just voice work. Just you really, and that trust is there already, right? So like you kind of know their limits, and they trust you, you trust them, so you kind of know, what toe to line and what they're into and everything. So it's easier to, apply the voice stuff or just say things a certain way as well, just like over text, right? So just throw them certain images, stuff like that. So.
I wonder what he could be referring to.
I don't know
those images.
Well, the funny thing is, like, it doesn't
Great
just have to be
dopamine.
like you. It could be like a collar or a belt or a leash.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep.
And the human imagination is a powerful thing.
Absolutely. But like, look what I just found, and shows a picture of a collar, and well, what do you think I sent that for? And then they're like, oh, I know why he sent that for, and then there we go.
Yes, I've had my innocent phase where I was excited. I received these police handcuffs, like legit metal grade, and I was happy to show them off to someone, and so I DM'd them about it. It's like, hey, look what I got! This is actually legit, right? And they said,
"Oh no."
I'm in danger.
It took me. Yeah, the thing is, I can be a bit bricked in the head, right? And so it took me a little while to understand like what the heck they were like referring
Bricks
to.
usually means something else.
Yeah, so that's why I said my head instead.
You did a ... hold up.
Yeah, no, it took me a second, and then well, I didn't pass up the opportunity, so that's all I will say.
Yep.
Toys are fun.
But I have yet to cosplay as a policeman, so I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, there's a reason why handpicks are so like popular in the community.
Oh yeah.
I was literally about to talk
I
about
was
that.
surprised.
Just a picture of my hand, like holding, I think it was a monster can, like to one of to someone I was talking to, and they were like, "God damn your hand," and I was like, "What? What? Like, why are you gripping it so hard?" I was like, "I'm just gripping a monster."
They're zooming in to count the veins. They're just like looking like
No, I get
Christ.
that.
Oh
Sure.
god, like
I know.
male vtubers and their slutty handpicks.
Hands.
Would you
love
like
the
one? I took
grabbers.
one the other day, actually.
Yes, show me.
Okay, sure.
I mean, I
squeeze
guess
away.
it does
Count
help.
the reaction time to that. Yes, just yes. I need.
No, I literally have a squeeze sword where the eyes pop out, and then it's like when so just occasionally just squeeze the shit out of it, and like people they get a kick out of it.
You gotta give them what they want.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I get that. Honestly, handpicks in the VTuber community, I don't put up too many handpicks myself. Mostly when I'm like holding maybe Toby or something.
Mm.
And then I get mixed responses. Either people don't like him or people say, crush my throat. I'm like, okay,
Sure.
well then.
Yeah.
Talking about handpicks, I actually took one today, so that's this conversation's pretty funny. I just took a picture, made like a gripping motion. I put their name goes here, and then just send it to them, and they fucking.
I've had.
But you
I've
know-
actually had. Oh,
I was going to
Sorry.
say, that kind where you were joking about the zero latency, that kind of links into something we spoke about right at the very beginning, where people are like, "Oh, well, you've done such and such with so and so." Like Atra and I have both had people be like, "Oh, well, you've done such and such with Atra or Mystique. Delete as appropriate. Like, why won't you do it with me?" And we're like, "Well, we're performers, and we have a very like specific relationship and agreement."
I'm trying not to end up
Like-
in Google Doc in like 3 months.
It's like, you guys are on stage together. You're doing a performance, like
Yeah.
dance partners essentially. So it's like,
yeah, give the people a show.
yeah.
But we
What's this all
also
about?
don't like performance fuck people necessarily, like just anybody. We're quite selective, I think, about who we perform with for a reason, because of all the twitlongers.
Mm,
Um,
Uh,
the minefield.
Mm.
Google Docs
And-
everywhere.
Oh yeah, and I think some people don't realize that LootTubers don't. We're not like vending machines where you just like put in a collab request coin and sex falls out. You know, there's more to it than that.
No, there's an application. There's a form, people.
Yes, I have a 9-page application form. You have to send your social security number and pictures of your debit card front and back. Thank you.
When they gotta study harder than for Harvard.
Yeah.
My acceptance rate is worse than the Ivy
Send
League.
your CV and prepare for an interview. Get your
Yep.
best suit.
You have to
I don't
sit your
need-
SATs, your sex acceptance tests.
Oh no.
I don't need degrees. I need that TNT.
TNT?
Yep. There we go. Very bouncy TNTs there.
Yeah,
So-
I can't jiggle too hard because this model has nipples.
Yeah. So I have another question here, actually. Do you consider yourself naturally dominant, or is it something you've worked up to for an online persona?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Naturally dominant, huh?
It has been a very interesting journey getting to where I am today. So I will not say I was not always So no, I definitely didn't happen overnight. I wouldn't
Well,
say
for better or for worse, because you remind me of Mordekaiser, I can't imagine you anything.
precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. I have a reputation to consider.
So it's kind of an off thing for me. I have an interesting story with that one, or with that question.
Sure.
So when I first came into the VTuber sphere, believe it or not, I considered myself very vanilla, or I was rather extremely vanilla. You know, not a single lewd comment, not a single this and that, because I also had aspirations to join one of the bigger companies out there, right? Not anymore, but
Agency.
you know, yes, agencies. Not anymore, but you know, the sentiment was there, so I didn't want to like be anything like that. Basically, I was in like that K-pop, J-pop idol mentality, right? But for the most part, I considered myself pretty vanilla. And then I blame the VTuber community for slowly corrupting my morals and individuality.
100%. 100%. VTubing has irreparable damage.
Yes, they have awakened something in me. And keep in mind, it's not
100%.
like I was going on my way to like, hey, show me them titties, right? It's just kind of like, like I was just having a normal conversation, you know, and then, you know, it's like, I like lewd jokes. The most I did was maybe make like lewd jokes, like, you know, I because it's like anime thing, right? It's like, hey, you got a small chest, haha, you're flat, haha, that sort of thing, right? And then I said that to someone just as a joke because they were like making fun of my bald head, and then they like send me a picture of their titties in real life. I'm like, oh.
You know,
Oh, shit.
funny enough, that's how I saw my first real pair of titties, too.
Dacho.exe. Stop responding.
Yeah,
What, you were
right.
making fun of a guy for being bald? And
No,
then
no, no,
someone
no.
showed
Then
you
you
their
got tit
titties?
pics.
No, I
Damn.
called her flat. I called her flat. She pulled like her shirt down. He's like, "No, I'm not flat." I'm like, I got, yeah. I was 17.
No, that neuron activated.
Neuron
Yeah, and
activated.
then,
That's adorable.
yeah, and then how I awakened specifically to my dominant personality, right? Because people might have said, you know, I was always naturally dominant. You know, I wouldn't be able to tell. You know, I just breathe as I do. It was like when VTuber harems were very popular, right? The whole waifu and
Oh god,
Uh,
people with their 900
when that
wives.
was, yeah, you know, that's when it was very. I was in that sphere when it was very popular, and I, for better or for worse, greatly participated in that thing. You know, if I've had the pleasure of calling someone like Yami Umai my husband, I had the great pleasure of like naming, you know, other VTubers this and that.
Wife
As
1,
part
wife
of the-
2, wife 3, wife 4.
Only your top concubines make it to your bio.
Right, it's like concubines or some shit. It's like we're all like shitty little emperors.
That's so good.
Yeah, and for the most part, though, I always
Concubines in bio.
mostly I mostly try to treat that as like,
Pussy in bio.
oh no, bro.
No, there's still some VTubers out there
These
that have
my
their wives in the
pussies.
bio.
Yeah, and for the most part, I feel like that sort of thing is just like for a fun dynamic. I admit I've had my phases where I went a little too far with these things, but for the most part, I'd like to think that most of my quote unquote husband and wife relationships were all for fun. However, I did have a friend who was jealous of my other wives, right? And they said they didn't want to. The thing is, she also said she didn't want to be my wife at the time when this thing was kind of more popular, right? So I asked her, it's like, okay, what do you want from me, right? I was like, what do you want then? It's like, getting a little frustrated, but in a fun way, right? And then she started to slowly speak about her interests, and eventually, then I realized, oh, she wants to be my pet. And
okay.
then from I swear that night something changed me like a light switch in a dark room. My head decided to shine up the entire room. Flick of a goddamn finger, the entire
The neighborhood
dynamic,
could not
and-
sleep that night. The light.
Yes.
That house was not rested.
It was just like a lighthouse. Dancho's head just like shining out the windows.
The prophecy has been
Yes.
foretold.
Yes, and then
Gondor calls for aid.
you don't need a flashlight when I'm in the room.
The beacons are lit. Anyways,
Pets and we shall answer.
The Riders of Rohan. Sorry.
You're all a bunch of fucking nerds, all of you.
shut up. Lord of the Rings is great.
We are vtubers. We gotta make it up somehow. But yeah, that's how basically I figured out I had a natural inclination towards the dominant spear and pet play in this case. It's just something that just awakened. Like before I knew it, I was like typing these paragraphs, sending these voice commands, and
Ooh.
and then when I woke up from the slump, I'm like, oh shit, post nut clarity. What the fuck happened?
Jumanji gif. What year is it?
Yeah, so like to answer the question, it's like I suppose I've always been naturally dominant, and I don't really try to build that reputation for myself. I don't mean to brag or anything, but I guess it kind of just happens because people come up to me, they see this bald guy in a suit in many medias that command some sort of authority or villainous persona, and puns aside, but it's kind of like they kind of push that expectation on me for better or for worse. For example, there's that one trend that's been popular a few days ago, like the height one, right? Your IRL height versus your VTuber height.
Yes.
I told Atramentum this, but originally my model lore was 5'10" because I myself am 5'7" in real life. But then,
samesies.
yeah, and then people kept coming up to me. It's like, oh, wait, you're 5'10"? I thought you were taller.
You have a tall guy's voice.
Yeah, like a big man, someone named the boss. That's my
I
title.
think he sounds naked.
See, now that's the thing. Is because being a certified dwarf himself, because I look like Gimli in real life. Being a strong 5'5", right?
Yeah.
But see, height don't matter because when you just say. There's one line that just makes it all go away, and it's you won't be so tall when you're on your fucking knees. That works every time.
Honestly, confidence makes you bigger than you are.
I actually
I love
did.
doing my height. I got the beard of Gimli as well. It's great.
Nice. I actually screamed at
sound
Don
like
Show
my
when I
husband.
found out we were the same height.
No, people have always assumed I was taller than I actually am, for better or for worse.
I was like, motherfucker, we're the same height. Why do you keep acting taller than me?
That goes to my next point. It's like I don't like directly influence certain styles. I just am who I am, right? Like I admit that sometimes I kind of played into it just because like it was fun, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's just like it's just how I am, and eventually I like got sick of people saying like, oh my god, you're only this tall. Like fine, I'll be fucking 7 feet tall. I'm gonna stretch out my spine. Fuck you guys, right?
Mm.
And then sort of became like that. Now people, I don't hear any of that anymore. I guess 7 feet tall is a good height, and it just kind of like plays into that question where it's sometimes people's expectations on me as well versus how I naturally am.
Yeah.
See, for me, it was a bit weird coming into this because I, obviously when you first started having sex, it was just that, it was just sex, and this is not VTube being not anything online. I'm nothing, it was just normal. Then I met someone who then showed me like them being fully sub and all that, and then it turned me to that. So by the time I got to the online space, I was already in that headspace completely. Like I was already there, and like the reason I even started really was because someone went, "Oh, I was in this model in VR chat," and someone went, "Oh, you suit that model. You should like get your own version of it." So I was like, "All right, sure." Did it? Put pictures on Twitter. Now I'm here. So, but so coming into it, kind of like I was already dominant, so it kind of just was natural to me.
Yeah, we thought I was a sub because, born and raised in South Africa. So, that's kind of the natural quote unquote place for a woman to be. But we found out very quickly that I was not the sub in the relationship. And I've been with my husband since I was 19. So I'm 36 now. So doming is very natural for me. We're like lifestyle doms. Well, I'm a lifestyle dom. He's not. Also, 5'5", 5'6", looks like Gimli.
Hell yeah. Represent. Rock and stone! Anyway.
Okay, that's your limit for Lord of the Rings references. You get one more and that's it.
That was Lord of the Rings.
Sticks and stones.
But Mystique, how did you sort of like undo that like societal conditioning for you to be submissive and sort of express your dom side? Because I imagine you weren't like dom, like the dom, like you are today from the very start.
No.
So how do you sort of explore like deconditioning that as a femdom?
Honestly, one of the best things I ever did was take up martial arts. And that really, like, it helped me to become more physically assertive. Also, I lived in what we call res or residence, which were basically like, you get like your own little shoebox room, and you've got like this big building full of students, and you've all got a shoebox to live in with a single bed with a metal frame. And, if you try and have sex on that metal frame, it goes skrinky, skrinky, skrinky and annoys your neighbors.
Yep.
So in order to circumvent the skrinky, 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 I put Fuzzy on the floor and got on top of him. Because, like, the easiest way for me to come is when I'm on my stomach, like facing downwards. And he got really, really turned on by being, like, pushed down by a woman, and I was like, oh really? Well, I quite liked it too. And we sort of started exploring physical dominance before we started exploring mental dominance. I was sort of like service topping for a bit until I realized my capabilities and how much I enjoyed it.
So it was sort of like physically expressing that for yourself and then eventually getting to the mental mindset. I see. And so when did you start to go online to sort of explore that?
Pretty much at the same time. In South Africa, we didn't have FetLife at the time because it was the Cretaceous period. So we had a website called Column Me, and I started talking to other subs and other DOMs and learning about the lifestyle. I actually went to a munch, and my parents picked me up from the munch, not knowing that was where I was going, because I was like 18, 19. And they were like, "Oh, how did you know Hillary?" And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "Oh no, this guy, he knows your dad. He works over at the scout base. This is his house." And I was like, "Oh, cool. That's how we met." Lol.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You get a mistake.
We've got some questions from chat here. So Kinky Saya says, do you feel like brats, if you let them run rampant, end up taking a lot more energy than most other viewers for little community benefit?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I want to say, like, not to call anybody out, but if you're like overdoing on the brat like stuff, it's selfish and like it sucks up all the oxygen in chat and all the streamers' attention too.
Yeah, it's like it's that one quote, the loudest person is the one that's heard. It's kind of like that, where a brat is so prevalent, right? Just because like they take up, it's quite easy to be the center of attention, especially in the online space, right?
For smaller creators
So-
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for
so
sure.
that's why it's like it's a lot more noticeable. That's why the negative behaviors are a lot more noticeable, especially like say you're surrounded by positive influence all the time. That's why like it hits that much harder to have that negative influence. In this case, like a brat who's just trying to like take all your time rather than share the time with other people in the chat.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question from Lucy Blaze. Do you ever have a time where you get tired of being in a dominant like role? So for our switches, this is a question for our switches, I guess.
Well,
Oop.
So I was about to say, just quickly for the non-Switch side,
Yeah.
It is just a case of like, where I'll just be like, yeah, I'm not in the mood at all, and I'll just like just won't do it, and I'll be up for like chilling and all that, but not even if you try, it just won't. If I'm not in the mood for that, I'm not someone who can switch. So that's me. All the switches go ahead, but
I think
So in that case, one second, Steak. So in that case, Welsh, you wouldn't ever swap to like submissive for like a session or like a interaction. You'd either like be dominant or just not engage. Is that kind of how it goes?
in a nutshell, yeah. Because in my opinion, and this is all power to you if that's what you like, if that's what you do, all power to you. It's just that if it's in that sense, it just every single sense of it just turns me off. Like if there's no like if it's being a brat, that's different because there's like I changed them to be sub. But if it's like they're only wanting to dom me and turn me into sub, yeah, it just don't work. It's just not for me. I physically don't find it attractive. If anything, it just makes people go like, "Oh yeah, sick, bro." Let's double team someone. Do you know what I mean? That's my like way of going about that. It's
The
just,
very bare minimum.
yeah. It's like I remember I remember once. It was on VR chat and someone tried to did the whole like Dobby Mummy voice into my ear while quote unquote riding me, and I was just like. I just went, yeah, no. They're like, oh, what's the matter? And I was like, yeah, actually, no. Like, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
I've come from a raw noodle to a cooked one. Just stop.
Can you not?
Yeah. Then once again, if you're into that, all power to you. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I can attest to that. It's just like it's like a matter of just being horny, right? If you're just like you're not a switch, you're just pure dom, pure sub, right? I feel like even subs deal with this kind of issue, in that it's just whether you're horny or not. Because when you're one side and you're in the mood, like there's only one thing you will go towards because that's what you are.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's not like we could just turn off the dominance if we're not a switch? That's
Oh,
like kind of
Rodrigo,
endless
that's such a
switches
good
sometimes.
question.
It is the same
Yeah.
for subs though as well, because I know a girl who gets loads of people asking her to dom her, and she's just like, I just want to be a sub. I don't want to be a dom, but like I feel like I get more engagement if I am. It's like I feel like I'm lying, and then she'll like dom one person. Like she says she has to be in the right mindset to dom someone at least like maybe once a month, and then it's all gone. It's all expelled from her. But then everyone tries to then make her dom. Sorry.
No, that
It's
must be.
just-
I feel like that's a lot more tiring than someone who's naturally
Exactly,
engineered
that's
for it.
what I
Oh,
mean.
yeah.
I feel bad for her.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Then
think
like,
kind of. Oh, go ahead, Dante.
oh no, I was just gonna ask, like, how is it like from the Switch side? Just person curious.
Well, I think because I'm sort of exploring a bit of my switchy side now of days, as of late. But it's very much a case of if I get tired of being a dominant, it doesn't necessarily mean that I want to submit. It means that I want someone else to direct the action. Because I think part of the appeal of submitting and not being the active partner is not having to do things to pursue or always come up with the sex itinerary or whatever the case may be. Not have to
No,
come
I
up,
know
not
what
have
you mean.
to. You don't want to write the spreadsheet and get the diagrams. Sometimes you just want.
I just can't unhear the term sex itinerary.
Is that sometimes? Sometimes you're like, right, this person likes it this way, so I have to go enough of a battle plan to get in this way and do it this way, and then I can get it done.
Yep.
And
then I can focus on it.
And the thing is, you can be the party who's not collating the itinerary and booking the tickets and the buses, and still be sort of in the dominant partner. Like service chopping is very much a thing.
Yeah, it's like delegating then.
Exactly. I don't want to do all the things and have all of that energy and responsibility and have to think about all that shit.
You need an off day.
Exactly. But, if I still want to
Yeah.
have sex and, still be the dominant partner, that absolutely is possible. Submission is a very different thing where it's a very different headspace and still requires, a lot of mental energy, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And do you know what doesn't get a lot of attention as well from with all the talk of dom and subs and all that stuff? There is just sex. Like there's no side to it. It's just you're with someone you like and you just have sex. Like
Bone down.
There's no side to it. It's just that. Like sometimes that is just the best type of sex as well. Sometimes like it's just
just
not
like no power
just
play,
sex, just pleasure. Yeah,
just
exactly.
put it in, push it out. It's just
I love how we've gone from bratting to just chatting about BDSM. That's
Yeah, I mean the topics are not. This is like not a seminar, It's like
oh yeah, no, they're
the
very much
focus
interlinked.
of a conversation,
Yeah, I mean, if we want to go back to the conversation just a little bit, it's like sometimes when a brat comes up to me, right, and they want to do this and that, they try to get me in a certain mood. I'm doing that one meme where it's like, "E kitten, I promise, E dad is about to eat on live and stuff right now." It's just like it's
Wow.
like it's really about the mental kind of headspace. And if they are a good brat, I feel like this is something we haven't talked about enough, like good and bad brats, right?
Yeah.
A good brat will know when to back down and kind of like apologize, but they won't take it to heart. It just happens, It's like you can't get my pecker up. So it's like we're just gonna do something else or leave me be so that I can enjoy my night. A bad brat is gonna like
Keep digging.
push your buttons.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, how do I say? A bad brat also, in my opinion, is someone who also will leave you if you're not in a certain mood, or they don't get that fulfillment of expectation from you. Like I've had quite a number of people who I've quote unquote gotten to a FWB relationship with them, but they ditched me the second I said I wasn't interested anymore, or it's just like I was just too tired that night. So
yeah, so people
it's-
just want the B bit, not want actual to be mates.
And
it is
I
a bit
can respect
sometimes.
that sometimes. Sometimes people just want a sexual encounter with no anything else.
No
I can respect
strings.
that. Yeah, and I can respect that. But it's in this scenario, there's the good brats and the bad brats. That's what the bad brat is, in my opinion.
So on that note, we do have some questions in chat, including this one from Amethyst Cosmic, which is, how do you identify a false dominant from a true one? So I'll field this one actually. There is no such thing as a false dominant. Like, if you're talking about your personal relationship with someone, like, that is a interplay that you'll have to figure out on your own. If it's someone performing and they're performing a dominant role, like, that is their choice to do so. So they can be whatever they want when they perform. And I find when people challenge like VTubers who say they're like not bottoms, or like they're tops, or they're dominant, or not, or like whatever, I find that it's just not a productive conversation, honestly. That being said,
And-
yeah, go ahead.
Do you mean false dominant or bad dominant?
Assuming, well, so that's what I was actually going to go into. Because
sorry.
it might be a wording thing. Yeah, so like false in that case. But if we're talking about a bad dominant, right? That's someone who's not asking for consent to do a lot of things, basically. There we go. Yeah, bad. Okay, yeah, there we go. Yes. So who, like, to field this question, how do you identify a bad dominant? They do not respect your boundaries. They try to push on them, and they are constantly like not checking on your comfort level, because bad doms like dictate and they don't take your feelings into consideration at all.
And then you ditch that person, and then you wait a month or two, and then the Google talk comes out, and you go, yeah, no, they were assholes.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
That and like a talk beforehand as well is normally, if they're like a proper dominant, they'll ask beforehand what you're into and what you're not into, so that they can avoid things that, because like sometimes they'll just automatically go into it going, yeah, I'm a dom, I know exactly what this person will like, and it's like, no way. I always got to ask, because like sometimes you'll be like, most girls like to be called baby girl. No, that's not true in the slightest. I once heard about this girl who fucking basically was doing a shoot with I think it was a false shoot, so it was like kind of staged, and they were all like kind of in the idea of what they wanted, and then this guy called her baby girl, and she just snapped on stream about it, like, and like he was like, oh, but it's just everyone likes that. It's like, no, that's not how this works. It's just, you need to talk through it first. You need to have an idea at least.
Yeah, when you upset somebody, you like need to like pause, like
yes,
like, acknowledge that you messed up, back up, apologize, and you like don't make excuses. No, shut the hell up.
Yeah,
you made a mistake. You upset them.
There's a time and a place.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was gonna say, Brandon. Like, you got a good dom is one who will acknowledge and apologize for the mistakes. A bad one is the one that overcompensates. Like, their entire Twitter or their quote unquote personality is like a dommy, or not dommy. It's like a dom man wolf thing. I don't know.
I get sus vibes when I see someone including that they're a dom in the bio. I'm just like,
oh my God,
it's like how they introduce
flag.
themselves.
Yeah,
biggest
like,
red flag.
My bigger red flag is actually when it's in their Twitter handler, Dom Wolf or something.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I guess it's like a straight up NSFW account. Like, for example, I've had
not you, Wolf. not you, Welsh.
Yeah, but you're a performer. That's different.
Yeah.
You're not just cruising.
No, bro. I didn't mean you. No, bro, please. I promise. He wasn't about you.
No, you did not give it a vibe at all.
Another crucial thing about dominance is safety.
Yes.
A good dominant will not only talk, look at your comfort, but will also look at the safety and potential for harm of what you're doing. So, you may want to be scarified, for example, and have something carved into your skin, and maybe they are into it and would be willing to do that, but they would have to, together with you, find out how to do that safely and without causing unwanted lasting harm. Yeah,
there is no one size fits all to anything. That's what we're kind of alluding to when we talk about like people who market themselves as such, like as professional dom, or like dom for hire, or like a guy who's like it's basically
or just daddy dom, just like, oh, I'm a dom,
right? Like great value dom, Walmart brand, Tesco brand. Dom. Like works in all situations.
I think it's more within their personalities as well. Like it's just like Papa Wells said earlier. They're the type of people who will have no questions asked and then just go straight into it. Like I've seen those Twitter docs, tweet-longers about like people or guys who would like go into someone's DMs and be like, hey there, good girl, you want to have a good time and shit like that.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, but the number of doms who have pounced up to me and think that they can out-dom me because they're a guy and I'm a female lady person.
You could have been,
and they start patting my head and talking down to me and calling me good girl.
Oh Christ.
And the thing is, like, I've made that mistake before too. It's like at first I was learning into it because again, I've just awakened this naturally dominant like kind of behavior, but I didn't know all the rules, the etiquette, so I just had some assumptions. I immediately apologized to the people I found out that they weren't into that. Thankfully, they were cool individuals who didn't put me on Twin longer.
I think that's huge. Rules and etiquette, that's huge.
Yeah.
Too many people aren't willing to acknowledge that those do exist already before you, not you, Doncho, but like anyone who has an awakening. Like you can have your own rules, but there are preset
Other
things.
people's rules,
like
everyone's got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
like no one's perfect straight off the bat. As long as you're nice about it, but do make a mistake and you acknowledge your mistakes, like what you said.
Yeah.
I'm laughing at
being able to be told no is a big one.
Yeah,
daddies in chat.
Yeah, this is the reason I mentioned it specifically for like some people here who may have been like a newly awakened dom, or perhaps like they want to try out like subbing or like bratting, right? Like you can make mistakes in the beginning. I feel like some people one reason why they push that narrative too much is because like it's what they are told they should do or what they always see, right? They don't know what goes actually behind the scenes, and so they just, based off their assumptions, go ahead and try to quote unquote dom, or go ahead and like brat to like someone's like fucking brains are blown out, So it's like, you can make your mistakes, just like, Brad just told me here. And it's just all about how you do the next step. For some people, they're not going to give you a second chance. It's just how it goes.
Yep.
But,
you're not entitled to a second chance, so it's,
yeah, it's just like be an adult, basically.
Yeah,
weird.
It does flip to the subs as well, though. It's like you can't just force something on a dom without their consent. Like I've a bit of a story time, but once in IRL, I was I had someone do blood play on me without me knowing.
Oh god!
Oh no!
Yeah, and it was like
wait, what'd you call it?
Blood
play.
Oh.
Yeah, it's brutal. Don't get me wrong. I've if they'd asked, maybe, but like basically, like they were on top and they were rubbing their hands on my chest, and the light was just a proper goth girl room, so she had a like red LED lights around the roof thing. So red LED lights all around, and she's going at it. She's rubbing my chest, and I start to feel my chest get really warm. I like touch my chest, it's sticky, and I'm like, what's that? I go to turn on the light. She goes, no, stop. Now I definitely turn the light on. Turn the light on. What she did, she cut a little bit of blood on her hand, and she was rubbing her blood into my chest.
Oh my god!
Without asking me.
That's so unsafe and so violating.
Yeah. So
God.
I got up and left. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you. Don't get hepatitis. Get out of there.
Yeah, I was like,
Right.
yeah, okay, no. Left
You'll get
that,
up and go, got up and
that
went.
involved again. But once again, it does go onto the sub side of things where
Mm.
always ask the dom if they're into stuff as well.
He went away.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, respect.
He cast the D20 Cloak of Invisibility.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, basically.
man heard blood and fainted. Are you okay?
I need a moment.
Yeah, any kind of non-consent play is just horrific, I think. Like actual non-consent,
Yeah.
not consensual non-consent.
Yeah,
This is like-
CNC is a bit different.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
I think
like
we
not
could
related
always
at all,
just, like-
but Sandy's comment, like, how do you lose a guy in that much armor? He's just taking me out right now.
So you'd be surprised. I know a guy who was like 6'6", and for some reason he was the hardest motherfucker to find on the school ground. Like, I don't know. He becomes like a tree or something. Like he blends into the background, and we just kind of elude that from our memory.
He's like Kuroko no Basuke. He has no presence.
Yeah, fucking Brand just like rolls a goddamn roll 20 or natural 20 each time he rolls for stealth.
But in my high school, my best mate, he was 6'4" in year, I was year 9, I think it was. So he was a tall guy, right?
Mhm.
And he had big blonde hair, so we always used to call him Hogless Hope, like he was a lighthouse because you could see him.
Oh my god,
Everyone stood over the road.
that's amazing.
Whenever there's a high school activity, it's like, all right, get into A, B, and that guy.
Oh, Christ.
Okay, we have a couple more questions from chat I do want to get to. So Nekomato Uriko says, do you ever have a partner mistake dominance for parental control? Like they're confused of the
Yes.
idea of
Yes.
being dominated and seeking
Yep.
a parent instead of a partner, if that makes sense.
So
Basically,
like,
it's where people want to be like a puppet in their own life. And instead of being partners who work equally, they want you to run their lives and do all the admin and just tell them what to do so they don't need to think about it.
oh, like those extreme side of being like a sub or a dom. Huh?
Yeah.
Right.
I've heard
Like,
about
did you
those.
brush your
I've
teeth
heard-
this morning kind of doming?
Yeah.
So it's
Have
different
you
from
heard
like
of it as
the
well?
yeah, that's different from like the daddy little girl play, right?
Yeah, no, that's
Yes.
very
Yeah,
different.
very
Yeah.
different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like someone
don't
who
know if
actually wants you to parent them
Yeah.
as opposed to like being romantic partners who engage in like a certain type of play.
I see.
Know if you've heard of Little Space before.
No.
I've watched someone at Little Spaces where someone like will resort to being quite childish for just to like be comfortable in their own like little space where they want to be left alone and be like kind of like in a younger headspace sort of thing.
Oh,
age
yes.
progression.
Interesting.
Yes.
Sort of like that, but like not sexual, just for a
Yeah,
comfort
yeah.
thing.
Okay.
I've had someone try and force that mid.
Oh,
it.
that's
No,
horrific.
no. That's
No.
no.
It's
No.
yeah, that it's like no, what? How can you mix those two things up? Like what? I don't. Some people are.
I think they were. I think they were
No, look, 'cause some
confused.
people
Yeah,
do like
no.
to engage in age play where like this is something that was like part of my area of study, so I'm gonna note out for a sec.
Go for
But
it, go for it.
some people do like to engage in age play where they are dealing with concepts such as like innocence, the corruption of innocence, things that are associated with youth or being younger. Actually being in the headspace of being a child is very different.
Yeah.
But just for people in chat who may not like be aware.
hmm
I'm so sorry, Papa. Continue.
No,
Oh,
it's-
that's actually
it's-
interesting.
Yeah.
It's just not a nice thing to be to basically just anyone that does that just run the other direction.
Mhm.
It's just some people are weird.
Wait, what was the original question again, Atra?
Hang on, let me scroll back up.
Have you ever had people who want to be parented or mistake being parented for like BDSM?
Okay, then to my end, no. I've had one individual that wanted the daddy little girl dynamic with me, but never to the point of like, how do I say, complete control over lives. That honestly, to me, that just sounds like a hassle.
Yeah,
I got
Yeah.
way too much.
I can't even control my own life. I don't want to have your responsibility.
It goes
I
it
got my
goes
own shit
beyond.
together.
It does go beyond little space though, because like I had someone who did this to me, and it was a completely non-sexual thing. They are like the most ace person that has ever lived, but they were like, should I have something to eat? I'm going out. What should I wear? I don't want to go to work today. Like, should I call in sick? And just basically wanting me to make all of their decisions so that they would have no responsibilities and wouldn't have to put any thought into like being an active participant in their own lives. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like little space, I don't think.
Does that relate to like executive dysfunction, or is that sort of just completely separate?
Executive dysfunction is the inability to start something, like to actually start it at all. She just didn't. She wanted to do something, but didn't want to like choose how or when, or like she wanted to be told. So she's like, "Okay, I want to go out now. Tell me what to do."
I see.
You know, I don't know. Would you? Okay, so in hindsight, thinking back on it, like, would you is it like a thing that's like constantly happening, or is it just like one-off thing? Is that considered part of it, or is that just like
No,
complete
just an
separate business?
ongoing relationship with someone, not
Yeah.
like someone
Yeah.
asking you one
Okay.
day what to eat. It's like
Like as a
wanting to
lifestyle
direct-
kind of
yeah,
thing.
Exactly.
They
Okay.
want to
Lifestyle
run
dom.
their lives, not
Okay,
just like
okay.
not just go. What should I have to eat today?
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
the most I've done is like I've actually directed an entire person's day for them just because they were down in dumps, but I don't think that's part of the.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
As a
Okay.
one-off, that's very different.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
it's
okay.
yeah.
It's more like
Sweat-
becoming a
I saw the
surrogate
forehead
parent.
sweating there, my man.
Yeah,
Like, oh fuck.
yeah.
Please run my life. I'm a VTuber. You really don't want that.
You really do.
Yeah.
You really do
You
not
think
want
my
that.
decisions made we get here though were good?
No.
Please run my life. You like twitlongers?
It's like, hey, if I can't take care of myself, I'm not taking care of you.
Mm.
But yeah, no, it's not. It's beyond that a little bit too, because it's like what people are looking for sometimes may not be a dom. Like what you need is a parent. What you need is like someone to like help you in a different way, basically. So it's like
Oh.
having that surrogacy. Like, okay, maybe if I take this guy on as like a dom or whatever it is, he'll help me with things that I have unresolved in my my normal life.
Like
And-
being a dad as opposed to being a daddy.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes,
that's a good way
exactly.
to-
That's kind of that
That's
pertains.
strangely a good way to put it.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Strangely, a good way to put it is also the name for a sex tape.
Hold on.
Atra, you and I are
Hold it,
making a
wait a
sex tape with that title.
Nice.
But yeah, people have like non-sexual dominance is a thing, but like if people seeking it out need to like sort of have that sort of awareness that the other person in that relationship also needs to consent to whichever level of control and like back and forth that you have with that person.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a
Also,
question here.
Hodge, I'm really sorry. I'm not sending you kisses without your consent. The X just toggles the hand on my hip. So that's why that X is there. I'm
Hi,
sorry.
Podge. We have a question from Sparkly Salad. As someone who is on the receiving end of a bad dom through online means, are there any signs that you guys suggest to look out for?
So red flags, basically.
Red flags. What are some red flags for online doms?
Other than the stuff that we mentioned.
I would say
Do they make-
I would say one thing
Specific
that
trait?
one thing I would say is a big red flag to me is when they take things that are private and make them public.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's a
Oh, we
big
had
one
the
for me.
grudge here for a second. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Like it may even be an accident on like their part, but it's something to have a conversation with them about. If you do something in private and they tell like their entire Twitch chat they did something with you, like huge red flag.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I personally had to every time I get into like a potential sexual relationship with someone, and I list these like my goddamn like 10 commandments, right? Like I give them a list of shit that are like do's and don'ts are from my end, and then I ask them about their
He
end.
mails them 2 stone tablets. The shipping costs are amazingly.
I'll pay for it. I got Prime, but but like I always specifically mention, please keep our private interactions separate from public. Like I've had someone. You know, I'm a pretty free person. It's like if we're not in a committed romantic relationship, like you know, fuck who you want, fuck as many people as you want, right? I don't really care. Just don't tell me about them in detail because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had someone on their end with their partner spill their dirty secrets in public, and they thought it was funny. I'm just like, wow, that's toxic.
That's
You,
bad.
girl, I don't want. You know,
like
I
Clash
don't really
puts it,
like.
breaches of consent. Like if they're breaching consent, that's a big red
Yes.
flag.
Yes. And
Also,
some people don't
wanting
even
to be
realize it.
compared to other people in your life or previous partners and told that they're better, I think is also a big red flag.
Yeah, that's weird.
Trying to dig on information about your previous partners, definitely a big red flag.
Yep.
Oh,
Also, do they make you feel happy most of the time? When you're with them, are you happy most of the time? Or are you worried? Are you scared? Are you sad? Because if you feel those emotions more than you feel happy and peaceful and excited, it's a bad relationship and you need to consider moving on.
With the way some this is coming from personal experience, if like when you're with them you feel like fine and everything, but as soon as you're away from them, all you can think about is like, oh, should I there we go, sorry. Stream service for a second for me. It's like if you're away from them and then you have so many doubts and like you keep questioning yourself, and even if you should be, but when you're with them you kind of forget about that. But then as soon as you're away from it,
Yeah, you're getting like a shred of comfort from that person, so it's like you just turn your brain off, but then you're like,
you actually get away from the situation, you properly think about it. That's when you need to start questioning it, and then talk to the person about it. Never just keep it in your head. Always be open communication.
That's such a good point.
Great point. Great point.
Never bottle shit up, because it just never ends well. Always, even if even if it like results in an argument, arguments can be resolved. Like, you always need to tell them exactly how you feel and exactly what you mean. Otherwise, there's no point. It's not a relationship at that point.
A lack of aftercare, Sugar Plum Queen. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
lack of aftercare. That's a pretty good
Like,
one, actually.
going both ways. Doms need aftercare too.
Oh my god, Dom drop is a thing. Dom drop is
Rub
definitely
your
a
fingers
thing.
through my beard, please. I did a good job. Come on.
you know what, Welsh, you deserve that. You deserve
There's
a good
no
beard rub.
better
Yeah, just
feeling.
bury the fingers
your-
in the hair under the chin and go scratchy,
Yeah,
scratchy.
just
It's nice.
scratch, just scratch my chinny chin chin. That's all I need. I've made you brainless. Now just scratchy.
Me just crying a little. I don't receive any aftercare.
Aw.
No.
Forever. It's like the forever DM.
Oh, get it!
I'll do the aftercare, but I just won't do the bit before that if you want. There you go, man. I'll be there for you.
You know what? I'll
Forever
accept
Dom.
it. Forever Dom.
Here's a question from Sugar Plum Queen. What advice would you give to a submissive to help out their doms becoming more dominant? So how can a sub help a dom do the dom better?
Communication.
communicate, 100%.
And reassurance
It's-
as well.
Reassurance.
Yep.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Telling them
that's part of what I mean,
specifically
yeah.
what they've done that you like is a big thing. Where you're like, oh, I loved when you did such and
Yeah,
such and so and
feedback is
so.
huge.
Mm.
Feedback is
Very
huge.
nice.
So
do you
what's
think-
the opposite end, right? What not to do is compare them to your past
exactly.
exploits.
Ooh, no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
PP
does
soft.
get a little bit
PP
like
real
that.
soft.
I do think
Right.
another good one is experimentation as well. Like, sometimes you do stuff and just you got to try it. And if it don't work and you both don't like it, you know not to do it again. Do you know what I mean? You always got to try new things. You can't just do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then communicate that it's like nobody's fault. Like you both tried something and it didn't work out, and it's not on them for like being like skilled enough or whatever. It's because it just didn't work for you two.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then keep in mind though, when it means communication, it's not just one person. It's like, it could be just one person, depending. But for what I am trying to express, like each person may or may not be different. Just because it worked for one person, don't mean it worked for another. So you shouldn't be discouraged if they don't like it the same way the other person did. If you've been in multiple or planning to be in multiple relationships.
Communication is a collaborative endeavor.
Gotta fine tune it sometimes.
Like, you just have to be as a sub, right? You just gotta be encouraging. Don't be afraid to let them know what didn't work though, right?
Yep.
Like, don't be a dick about it. It's like, man, that really sucked when you put your fingers in my nose.
So shit.
Like, don't be like that. Just be. It's like just. It's not even just a sexual thing. It's just like how you want to reinforce like good or bad behavior in real life with your partners.
100%.
It's just like tell them what's good, tell them what's bad. Simple as that.
Just because they've taken on the Dom role doesn't mean that they are this impenetrable fortress. I would hope this entire stream has been kind of trying to send that point home. Like communicate, feedback, like just be human.
Yeah, like Brandon might be in a full suit of armor, but like he's still got those like little chinks and clucks where you could just stab something in.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would say it's even more important to communicate when you're online because like you don't have your body language, you don't have
no tone,
no tone sometimes. Like you need people to understand that you've made them feel good, or that they've hurt you. Like both ways, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And something that is very, very important: if something is hurting or harming you, or you don't like it, end that behavior as soon as possible. Don't let them hurt you because you don't want to hurt their feelings, or you don't want to say no, or you don't want to spoil the moment. The worst thing, or one of the worst things certainly as a Dom, is to find out that someone has been letting you harm them and you had no idea. It is the worst feeling in the world, and you are actually doing as much damage to us as you are to yourself by allowing that behavior to continue. So that's something very, very important.
Difference between wanting to be hurt and be hurt.
Exactly.
Well, it's the difference between violence and harm, right? Because like you can be violent towards someone, like spanking someone is violence, but if it's something that they need and are enjoying, it is not necessarily harmful. But if it's something that they don't like and they're like pretending to enjoy it for your benefit, that is doing a huge amount of harm.
Nothing will make a Dom feel worse than like finding that out.
Yeah. It's like, let's say from the sub perspective, right? You wanted your Dom to be a little more forceful, a little more softer. Just straight up ask them, it's like, can you be a little harder with this, or can you be a little softer with this? And the Dom would be like, hey, yeah, gotcha. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I've changed that dynamic.
I've had to be instructed how to properly grip a neck. So I mean, like, you just
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, Brett. I still need to learn that. Yeah,
that's a perfect example, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a difference between actually nearly killing someone and then
right.
But it's like, what was it? This is a quote off one of my mates. He went, being a proper Dom, it's just like it's akin to Conolingus. Listen to the person who you're doing it to because they know the best.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I mean, even just regular sex, like if it's not doing it for you, tell them like up a bit, left a bit. Ooh, that spot's good. Lick my nipple, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Communication. It's crazy.
Yeah. Here, and by the way, chat, we will start to wrap things up. So get your questions in now, and we'll try to get to them as we go along. The depth is usually 2.5 hours. Just a heads up. So this question's from
Wait, how long did it go for?
2.5 hours.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we're at 212 at the moment. If you
Yeah,
wanna-
so the Spotify episodes cover 2 commutes.
yeah, exactly.
Nice.
I find that people get tired after like 2.5 hours. I kind of try to like wind things down and give people their nights back.
I got to take a few notes.
Here's a question from Tidal Mizu. I have one question. What do you guys consider? What do you think about stuff regarding gender? Like, one part of me is kind of intimidated about how other gay men would think about my gender due to some people think feminine traits are strange. I want to know your your opinions regarding sex and gender. So, if I could maybe translate this question, when it comes to men being sort of regarded as the supposedly traditionally the dominant ones, for example, and women being considered like traditionally the submissive role, when that dynamic may change due to like being in a same-sex relationship or being in a femdom relationship, for example, like how do you deal with those societal expectations like affecting your relationship and mindset?
Don't
Well,
give a shit. It's your life.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I'm a straight man. You know, I love women, I love titties, I love big titty IRL anime goth titty girlfriends, titties. But how'd you know?
Yeah, I think Jancho might be an ass man. That's just a vibe I'm getting.
Well, I actually am, but
I mean, he has been standing behind you the entire time, so
I'm a gentleman. You know, ladies first. Mhm.
correct.
And there's no ulterior motive.
No.
But to actually answer the question, it's just like someone said earlier. Fuck him. I know it's like harder said than done, but at the end of the day, that dynamic is up to you and your partner. It's a private, it can be an emotional, or it can be like a casual thing, you know. It's up to you and your partner. Like, society might dictate that women have to be more submissive, men have to be more dominant, or like, you know, gay men have to be this and that, femboys, tomboys aren't allowed to this and that. It's all at the end of the day. You aren't having Big Brother look down on you from 72 cameras, okay? What happens in the bedroom is your dynamic. If there is a person that has those expectations, that could be a red flag, right? Or things just don't work out. Like, you guys have to realize, like, this isn't... Sorry, Papa Walsh, but this isn't Pornhub, right? Where everything...
How dare you?
What?
Wait, this is
Where am I?
Pornhub?
Am I not a furry? What's going on?
Hold up.
Where are my ears?
Help.
We've been on Twitch the whole time?
No, I'm just joking. But for the most part, pornography always has these certain expectations. Like, men have to be like fucking, 8 inches long in their pelvic region, right?
Yeah.
Like, God bless that one TikTok girl that says like 4 inches is enough, right? But,
Yes!
I've seen
oh
that,
my
yeah.
god, what a queen. We stand.
yeah. But, at the end, again, like, the point is that it's all a private thing. You are into what you're into. If that person is not into it, there's no shame in it. There's no shame in like it not working out.
Yeah.
And vice versa, right?
Yeah.
It's all about what you are comfortable with. And if society says you have to act this way, I feel like that's not a sexual issue. That's like a bigger, broader change of mind mentality.
Title Mizu, I would say that anyone who finds you less attractive because of the way that you identify is not someone you want to be with. Like, off the bat.
Not
Off
at
the
all. You
bat.
shouldn't be trying to shape yourself for other people. Like, you need
Absolutely.
to attract, like, light your own fire, let people come to your fire. Don't, take that.
I was about to
Beautiful.
say. I was going to say, a lighthouse has no need to look for ships.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
You're all
quote.
that shines.
Yes. Yeah.
Light your own beacon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also,
Don't-
something that could be very helpful is therapy, because gender expectations and gender roles that have been socialized into us from very young form a very core part of our identity, and that can be extremely uncomfortable and even painful to work through. In a partner, it's different because you can find another partner. But if you're trying to deal with that within yourself, that is something that you probably want to work through with a licensed professional, because it is a valid issue that you can't necessarily overcome on your own.
Yeah, we don't want,
and there is no shame in seeking
we
therapy.
don't want to say this is an easy thing to do. Like, dysmorphia hurts.
Yeah, no.
Dysmorphia is a painful thing to get through. Dysmorphia affects people in so many ways. But
and if one therapist doesn't work, there's more.
Keep looking.
Keep looking.
Absolutely.
Don't stop just because you had one bad experience. Therapy is huge.
Because if you try to get over your dysmorphia by changing yourself for others, you're making everyone unhappy in that relationship. Yourself, the person you're with, and I know it sounds easier said than done. It's just to say keep looking and don't limit yourself and don't change yourself. But if you can stick it out,
it's better than the alternative.
It's better than the alternative. Because you don't want to wake up 3 years from now being in a relationship with somebody and you've been forcing yourself to be more feminine or more masculine and you're miserable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like our society is ever changing. It's like I've never met a non-binary VTuber before, or non-binary person before the VTuber sphere, and now there's so many lovable freaks out there, right? Or not freaks, but
Yeah,
we know what you meant.
YouTubers, yeah. You just,
some of them are
characters
freaks,
out
so
there.
I'm not gonna lie. Holy shit!
the Twitlongers are being written as we speak.
Well, this is our final episode of the Debs.
I'm not sorry.
We had a good run, everybody. Good night.
No regrets.
So,
but yeah, at the end of the day,
we'll take one or two more questions from chat. So if you guys want to get in, go ahead. Nekomata Urgo says, "Do you ever think that you get tired of being a dom? If not, why?" I would say having to take charge all the time can be tiring. Because it is emotional labor, whether people realize it or not, to do that sort of thing, to always be in control, to make the decisions, to cultivate the kinky itinerary, so to speak, the sexual itinerary.
Get the tickets and
the
bus.
Book the bus.
It's why you hear stories of people within high positions, right? CEOs or managers, right?
Yes.
They often seek a more and this is not because they are a dominant or submissive person themselves, right? It's just always being in control can be tiring. So sometimes they seek something different. Then that's why you hear a lot of dominatrixes or dominant men. Their roles often have to deal with people of high position. They have a lot of clients of that.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. Because that's someone who's providing a space for you, a safe space for you to express that side of yourself that you can't normally do it in the office or in your family or at home, or among your boys, that kind of thing,
I think if I could tweak the question, Uriko, I don't get it. It's a question of being versus doing. I don't get tired of being dom or a dominant because that's kind of who I am, but I do get tired of doing dominant and doing dominance.
Good way of putting it.
It's like having to be the one on top all the time. It hurts your pelvis, man.
It's maybe you could book the bang bus this time,
Yeah, it's just at the end a personality versus sexual energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Being dominant, in my opinion, it's like sexual in nature, but it's also a personality. Just don't let it be your only personality.
Yeah.
Please don't put down in the bio.
If you are,
I plead, don't do it.
If you are in a relationship with a dominant person, and that is your dynamic, know that the doms need maintenance too. The doms may not always want to take control. There are ways that you, as a sub, can have an interaction with a dom that doesn't take a lot of the dom's energy, and it's good for both of you. If you have that
and it could energize them.
And it could energize them, absolutely.
I have the
showing them that you're a good girl, sometimes just hits different.
Yeah. Just get on your knees, and sometimes there's no need for us to do anything, and then it just proves how much that you like it, sort of thing. But then at the same time, sometimes it's the opposite way around, where the sub needs a break, where the dom then just has to then just do what's only for them, not for anything to do with you. It's
Exactly.
a two-way street.
Exactly.
At the end of the story, don't always be a brat or don't always be a dom.
Exactly on that point, we go to Raina's question. Would you guys personally like being in a relationship with a brat? Or do you get tired of that, especially with dealing with brats as a VTuber / streamer?
Sure.
I have chronic fatigue. I don't have a lot of energy. I can't do breaths.
Same, bestie. I'm so busy. I don't
Yeah,
I don't have time for brats.
Like
the
a
reason
little
I
bit,
said
like, not
yeah,
all the
no,
time,
the reason I said sure is because, like, you know, if you're a brat, I just consider that part of the sexual dynamic. You know, it's not really like the end all be all of a relationship, in my opinion, right? It's just like being a brat. It's kind of like in line with being a dom or sub. So, you know, it just comes with the territory. But would I personally be in a relationship one? Sure, why not? You know, I don't see why not, as long as, you know, they aren't the type to like push my fucking buns when I'm trying to study for the like bar exam.
So yeah, I think I'll rescind what I said. That's basically on point. Like as long as it's not 24/7, I can deal with, you know, it depends on the person. You touch base with them. What's their bratting style? All that stuff. Like that's no, I wouldn't decline from being in a relationship with somebody just because they are a quote unquote brat. I would need to do a little bit more diving.
See, for me, it's I like the in a relationship side of things. I'm like in the bedroom, dominant, hard dom, pleasure dom, whatever. In a relationship, I want to go out on cute dates and take you out and do all that sort of shit. Like I'm all about that. Like I'm not about like being you're gonna do what I say. You're gonna, you know what I mean? I'm not about that. In the relationship side of things, in the day to day, I want to treat you like a princess and make sure you're all right. Do you know what I mean? Sort of shit like that. But in the bedroom is when it all swifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, like
cute shit.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying that brats are brats 24/7. It's the amount of energy that you have spare to put into a scene or sexual interaction. Bratting and dealing with a brat does take a lot of energy, and if you are dating someone who likes to brat, who finds a lot of reward in that, you won't necessarily be able to give that to them. So, you know, not wanting to like pursue or be in a relationship with a brat doesn't mean that bratting is invalid or that you are just brats 24/7 and that's your entire identity. It just means that I can't give you what you need.
Yeah.
Or Atra, or like whoever.
That is a great segue into the next question, actually, from Shy Mama Blue 3. How do you deal with people who think you're horny all the time? Like, how do you tell them, how, like, without them being offended, how do you tell them that you're not in the mood?
You're just
why
not in the
are
mood.
why are you worried about offending them when really, like, I would, if they get offended by you saying no, I'm not into it, like, red flag? Hello? What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you
I
mean?
agree with you massively.
That's
It's
like
if I say no, it means no. What are you on about?
they go, not today, and then they throw a fit. It's like, what? Why?
Yeah, y'all,
That's not you. That's them.
Yeah, like remember that this is always performance, that we have personas, we have OCs. Like some people are more true to their OCs than not, but no one is horny all the time. Maybe one or two of you are, but like most people aren't horny all the time. Like this is a performance, these are OCs, and like
Nacho, I think he's talking about you.
Yeah, no, definitely Nacho.
Hey, wait, hold up.
I've actually got two forms, which really helps with this visually. I've got the angel and the demon, which you can see here.
Yeah.
And when I stream on Twitch, I stream as the angel 99% of the time. So people have an association with the angel being a bit more say-so and like, yeah, we can make dirty jokes, but like, it's not horny time.
Yeah.
And it's a good way of communicating to a lot of people at once without necessarily having to like sit them down and say it every time.
There are a lot of VTubers that have two personas, one for like Blue Twitch and one for like Twitch, and it's like a great system, honestly. I don't do it, but like I don't use my model on like Blue Twitch.
Yeah.
That's how I introduce the difference.
DMs I get in my Twitter, just like saying the most outlandish shit ever, and I'm like, I'm just making most of the time. I'm just making content, man. It's no need
Yeah.
to message me that. Like, come on, now.
It's kind of
Well,
like
just sitting here like, I'm just a little guy. What are you doing?
yeah. It's kind of like it's kind of like the same as Dom should ask permission if they're allowed to like dom you in your private whatever's, just like how you should ask am I allowed to be a brat to within your space, that sort of thing. In this case it's more like, how do I say, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, just communicate. Be like, hey, was that too much I did on stream the other day? Like,
Yeah.
tell them like, hey,
Wait.
just chill a little bit, like calm down. Like,
Wait, sorry, what was your original question again?
was along the lines of hang on, gotta scroll up again.
How do you deal with people who think you're horny all the
There,
time?
that's what it is. Yes.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Just like that. Okay, there was my original thought. Just like how it's like people ask permission that they could be a dom or brat. It's just like, let's let them know if you're allowed to be horny today, or if like the mood kind of strikes, you just kind of like no, because I know sometimes it's not always, how do I say, accessible to. Ask first. Sometimes people just like kind of get into it, right? And I mean like the consensual way, not the just silently
No,
consensual.
they'll hit you up on your
right?
DMs like bratting like right away. It's like, oh, whoa, say good morning first.
Yeah, right.
Just buy me dinner,
Start the
breakfast, and
conversation
coffee.
like that. I just sat
Happy
down.
yet?
Like,
just
bro, I
woke
just got
up.
my coffee, man.
So we'll take
I didn't
one
even
more
get to put on my
question.
glasses.
I'm gonna put Curie in my coffee, not you. Shit. Give me a moment.
We'll take one more question from chat. This is from Shadow Queen VT. So my question is, how do you effectively communicate the fact that while you are a switch, that sometimes you prefer to be submissive, even if it's occasionally? I'm a switch and I've been in play situations or relationships where they've gotten upset because I wanted to relinquish power every once in a while, or I don't have the mental capacity to deal with brattiness. So I
They
think...
are getting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Brett. Go ahead, get him.
No, it's like they are getting upset at you for wanting to take. It just sounds like red flag to me, but keep going. Sorry, maybe I no, my
It's a
brain
long
like shut up there for a
question.
minute. Yeah,
No, like I like again, like the answer there is definitely communication, but like the needle that you have to thread as a switch can be very complicated. Like it may be as simple as asking, "Are you in a dom space today or a subspace today?" Because I get asked that like all the time.
By me every morning.
No, but like
Not really.
But like, when you don't have the mental capacity to deal with brattiness, like, never feel like you should stuff that down. You have to vocalize it, because you're gonna get irritable. You're gonna regret it, and like, you don't want that poor person who's like coming to you for like that fun interaction to feel bad about that interaction, even if you're in a consensual relationship. Like, I get it may be frustrating to have to communicate this over and over and over with somebody, but in my experience, at least, people do understand once you've like sort of set those boundaries and reinforced them a few times. And if they don't, then maybe it's something you should reconsider. But if you're constantly able to communicate that with someone, like, I know it's tough to not have the mental capacity like some days because you're busy, like you're a content creator, you might have a job, you might be having other stresses in your life, but like, don't let that be another stressor. Like, say what you need to say.
A boundary is a boundary.
Yep. Yeah, I understand what you mean, though. Like, personally, I've always been afraid to get in a relationship with, or, intimate or sexual wise with a switch. I know there are different types of switches, the ones who can go either or either and, right? But, like, that's what I was always afraid of. Like, someone who is... I'm one-sided, so I can't really go sub. Otherwise, I'm not gonna get into it.
Well,
So I was always afraid.
Like,
Yeah.
because like, I'm a dom leading switch. Like, I'm 90% dom, 10% switch. Like, if I'm switch, if I'm 10% sub, like, if I'm subbing on that day, it's like a full moon, I guess. But like, that still makes me a switch, though.
Yeah, no, I was gonna make that point in that, like, I was gonna feel bad for Switch, so I thought about like perhaps like giving up that set of control. But at the end of the day, it's like what Atramentum said, right? It's all about that communication, asking like what is wanting, what is not. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Absolutely.
So it's like if you're just too afraid to say it, like whether in the beginning or the middle of it, it's gonna cause a lot more troubles than not speaking up. So I think you're good. Just
this has been episode 23 of the Depths podcast. We had a really
Yes.
fun time talking with our panel here. Any final thoughts, you guys? Like anything you'd like? What's one final thing you'd like chat to take away from today's episode?
Communication.
Communication.
Communication, 100%.
Communication.
Yep. Just like how there are
Doms have feelings too.
yes. They're also they sometimes also lack mental capacity to speak for themselves.
And even the dommiest VTuber behind the screen is just a person who has the same needs as an IRL person. As an IRL person, if you're in a relationship or if it's just like a chat / like streamer dynamic, know that everybody needs care. Everybody needs to be communicated with. And while bratting can be fun, just know when to stop and like read the room.
Yeah, everybody wants different
Yeah.
things, but everyone needs the same thing deep down.
Exactly.
I
Yep.
think about your behavior. Would you do this to a real life person?
Yes.
And if no, then you probably shouldn't do it to a streamer either. Especially if you actually want them to like you and want to bring you into their community.
That is a beautiful
Boundaries, people, boundaries.
point.
Also, you're valid for whoever you are.
Yes, all
Mhm.
are valid. We'll
Yep.
do some plugs to wrap things up. I'm going to ask each of you to tell me what you've got going on in your content creation journey at the moment. And we'll go in order again. So I'll start with Geddon.
That's awkward because I actually don't know what I'm doing the rest of the week.
Well, you recently had a
might-
debut, no?
Yes, had a debut recently for this model actually. So, it's fairly popular
Oh.
for reasons I don't think I need to get into, but don't worry about it. In any case, I just stream Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. I don't know if I got anything going on. No, I don't. But just do a bunch of shit posting on Twitter. So just if you want to catch me over there, by all means, please do that. Please do that. But otherwise, I got nothing.
Geddon is an absolute joy. Geddon, you should definitely follow. Very cool,
Get
dude.
on his stream.
Yeah, like great streamer and like has a cool air around him that I think is really, really awesome to like behold.
Oh,
And you're really congenial. Like
Yes.
I've enjoyed having
Yeah.
you on the show.
well, thank you.
And all of you guys.
Absolutely. Next up, we've got Papa Welsh, or as he would like you to call him, Welsh, who at the very last minute, like literally last night, agreed to sub into that tonight's podcast. It's like what, 3 o'clock in the morning for you right now?
It is
4:12.
4:12.
Mm.
It's 4 in the morning. I'm very tired.
All right,
Are you
Welsh.
British
Close.
or from Europe?
UK.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in his name, Welsh. He's Welsh.
Oh, I thought that was just.
A lot of people don't know where Wales is.
Just going
thought-
Wales watching.
People know Ireland. People know Ireland. People know Scotland, but they don't know the original one, the Welsh one. It's fine.
Welsh. Is that
anything
some kind of
anything to
snack?
plug?
Yeah, just yeah. If you ever
What's your
get
fancy
horny,
link?
What's your fancy link?
if you ever get horny, Papa Welsh, and on Pornhub, Twitter, Fansly, anything. Who cares?
It sounds like you're
I
saying
know.
Papa Welsh, like a Welsh is a name for like a stiffy. You get horny? Papa Welsh.
Hey, I mean,
Welsh.
maybe that's how they do things over there. We don't know. We're fucking American.
Thank you, Ted.
Yeah, no. I just make all sorts of weird content. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mhm.
again, thank this gentleman here for coming on today's podcast. He will be on a future episode that I'm not revealing yet, but we decided to bring him on today to sub out for a friend Maito who has a sore throat, among other things. So thank you again, Welsh. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, good man. Anytime.
Welsh's debut.
And welcome to Twitch, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, first guest
Hello.
we had who's not a Twitch streamer.
I thought I was too NSFW for Twitch, but here I am. Look at me now, mama.
Mom, I made it! Get the camera!
I mean, Daddy Twitch will be behind your mama though, so be careful.
Get away from my mother. She's a saint.
The dragon in the pants is because the Welsh flag has a dragon on it.
It does. The Welsh dragon.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. What the
It's the
hell?
coolest flag alive. Screw anything.
There's
That
very
is true.
few flags that have dragons on them. Bhutan is another one, and like that's about it, I think.
Bhutan.
Yeah, it's a country in the Himalayas. Other than
Oh,
Asia.
I have another model on VR chat that I make content with, which is just the Welsh dragon. So, but this is my main model, so this is the one that everyone knows is Papa Welsh. So it's fine.
That's pretty cool.
Gotcha.
And last but not least, my Oshi, boss of the Golden Tiger Eye Casino, Doncho Horang. What have
I
you
got nothing.
What do you got? Nothing.
Well, I am in a hiatus at the moment. The casino is struggling to put bills to the lighthouse because I decided to make everything extravagant and very bright.
He doesn't
So-
use energy efficient bulbs. It's very irresponsible.
Also, his
All
accounting
right,
is
listen.
terrible.
Listen, accounting is ass and so are the light bulbs.
Yeah.
But I will be back soon as I hit the gold mine. So once I'm back, we're going full send to many things. And I'll probably afford many things as well.
What Doncho's saying is Doncho is currently on hiatus until he can get a full-time job, but we miss him all the same, and we appreciate
My
him so
immersion.
much.
I will be back soon, but once I am, I will not be going anywhere.
Hell yeah, dude. I appreciate you. It's been a long time coming to have you on the pod, and I'm glad to have you finally.
Right.
And-
I've always been in here, but I've never so this is how it feels to be on like the guest side.
Yeah,
I feel quite appreciated.
exactly.
Get on, hug me. I feel appreciated. Okay. You know what? Never mind. I don't.
Oh, he was talking to you, Geddon.
Oh, what am I doing? Oh, wow, what?
No,
It's
okay. I
Geddon.
didn't like you.
I think because you call him Get On, he was like spacing out and didn't hear it.
Yeah, you know, hug, buddy. You know, hug. I got you. Oh, actually, I don't think I got you. I think I'm in front of you now.
Well, front or behind, we gotta include Welch in there.
I've been in this pancake sandwich this entire time. It's fine.
I like a bread sandwich, rye in the middle, 2 wheat on top.
Excuse me.
What?
It's
If
a
anything, it's
Family Guy
Oreo.
joke.
We got the wine in the middle. It's fine.
Wait, no.
Would you like some cheese for your wine?
Oh my god. Lady Mystique, anything to plug?
Yeah, you can find all of my links at ladymystique.tv, all one word. Don't forget to not have the UE on the end, because that was taken. So, ladymystique.tv, you can find links to my Fansly, which I will be spinning up soon. I will also be coming to you in 3D in the next few months.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
I heard about this.
oh, did you hear it?
Jiggle, jiggle, we will see all them
For a
wiggles.
small bunny, I heard about
Oh
this.
fuck yeah! I've been learning from some people, and they've been amazing. I've got some pictures on Andy Bun's Twitter of some stuff we did today. But yeah, I'll be coming to you in 3D and 2D,
Very
and
nice.
offering many more services. So yeah, and I'm here on Twitch as well.
And
Come find me.
I've
sorry.
been your host.
I won't say anything.
I've been your host, Atramentum_X, variety streamer and LootTuber. I'm here on Twitch. I'm here on Fansly. There on Fansly, where I just cracked the top 2%. So let's go. I'm
Hey,
spinning up
yo.
YouTube, and We're just having a good time, like exploring the content right now. This has been The Depths. The Depths is an exploration of all things sex, love, relationships, and VTubing. Please like and subscribe here on YouTube and on Spotify as well. We will end this episode with a preview of the next episode. Big announcement, The Depths will be going weekly for the month of March because I have too many ideas and too many guests lined up. So we will return on March 1st with a new slate of guests. Here is your preview. Have a good night, everybody.
Sorry, I was muted. Could you repeat everything?
Good night.
Good night. Farewell.